There is an epidemic of mass murder being committed by a virtual army of unidentified assassins. It seems to be a sudden, general explosion of mass homicide. Consistent reports from witnesses to the effect that people who acted as though they were in a kind of trance were killing and eating their victims prompted authorities to examine the bodies of some of the victims. Medical authorities in Cumberland have concluded that in all cases, the killers are eating the flesh of the people they murdered.
Incredible as they seem, are not the results of mass hysteria. First eyewitness accounts of this grisly development came from people who were understandably frightened and almost incoherent. Officials and newsmen first discounted their eyewitness descriptions as being beyond belief. However, reports persisted. Medical examinations of some of the victims bore out the fact that they had been partially devoured. I think we have some late word that's just arriving, and I'll interrupt to bring this to you. This is the latest disclosure in a report from National Civil Defense Headquarters in Washington. It has been established that persons who have recently died have been returning to life and committing acts of murder. A widespread investigation of reports from funeral homes, morgues, and hospitals has concluded that the unburied dead are coming back to life and seeking human victims. It's hard for us here to believe what we're reporting to you, but it does seem to be a fact. When this emergency first began, radio and television was advising people to stay inside, behind locked doors for safety. Well, that situation has now changed. We're able to report a definite course of action. Civil defense machinery has been organized to provide rescue stations with food, shelter, medical treatment, and protection by armed National Guardsmen. Stay tuned to the broadcasting stations in your local area for this list of rescue stations. This list will be repeated throughout our news coverage. Look for the name of the rescue station nearest you and make your way to that location as soon as possible.
No longer seek occupancy in private residences, no matter how safe or well protected they may be.
They use everybody maybe 5% of the food available in the human body.
The kind of thing.
With that small amount, the body is usually intact enough to be mobile when it revives.
What are you saying? I mean, you science.
Dummies!
You're suggesting...
Dummies! Dummies!
Excuse me. Listen, quiet.
One wonders whether it's worth saving. Why don't we drop bombs in all the big cities? You're probably serious. I'm deadly serious. What are the choices? They won't run out of food, young lady. That's the problem, you see. And they won't run out of food while we're still alive.
We can lift you out to safety. Please answer my call if you can hear me.
We've got to remain logical. We've got to. There's no choice. It has to be. It's that or the end.
Hey, it's Greg Nicotero. You are, or if you're not, should be watching Alpha Romero on YouTube.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
And there's no more room in hell.
There I am. What's going on, everybody?
Took over the show.
I've never done this before. What do you know? Happy Saturday night, everybody. Hope you're doing well out there. We got a very special guest for this, the return, another edition here of Collecting the Dead here on the Alpha Romero channel. The one and only Dave Burian. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Thank you for being here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for the invite. Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. I've been doing this this show, if you want to call it that, for quite some time. Had quite a few people on here, and there's always a recurring name that always gets brought up. It's like, oh, you should have Dave Burian on. You should get Dave Burian on. You should get Dave Burian on. So finally made it happen. And you're wearing the shirt. That's how I got you on. I bribed you with the shirt. I was like, dude, I'll send you a shirt.
It took a whole lot, didn't it?
Worked out brilliant. It worked out just as I planned.
It did.
But yeah, hope everybody's doing well out there. Going to be a fun show tonight. Going to be talking all things collecting, collectibles, Romero, horror. You guys come to see some cool shit, and Dave will oblige, and Dave does this in person at Living Dead Weekend too. Like if you're in the right place at the right time, Dave usually has some tricks up his sleeve, and that's we'll definitely talk about that. Say hi to everybody in the chat real quick. I saw people popping in here. Michelle popping in saying, hey, miss you, Dave. There's love for Dave right off the bat. William Blasco's in the house. What's going on, William? Good to see you. Dan Fair is in the house. What's going on, Dan? Dan just got his Monroeville Mall tattoo today. I saw him post that in the Discord. Very, very cool. Welcome to the club, sir. I can never do this right, but yeah, there it is. There's mine. So welcome to the club, my man. Paul Farber's in the house. I know Paul's been looking forward to this one. Paul was actually the first guest I ever had on Collecting the Dead, because I love his collection. It's all, propalikes and, pinpointing little screen accurate, if you know type stuff. So Paul kicked this whole thing off. So yeah, good to see you, Paul. Glad to have me in here. We got Bonnie Bailey in the house. What's going on, Bonnie? Good to see Bonnie as always. We got Fat Pig, the Conqueror's in the house. What's going on, Fat Pig? I don't know who this guy is, but he's wanting to know, wait, who's Dave Burian? Yeah. Well,
I'd expect nothing less from Matt.
Another previous guest on Collecting the Dead, Mr. Matt Blasey. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Larry's in the house. What's going on, Larry? Hello. Is anybody there? Blasco saying, hope everyone's having a great weekend. You too, my man. You too. Got Vulo's in the house. John Vulo. What's going on, man? So I've been looking forward to this. Kara hijacking John's account. Oh, there you go. So it's not even Vulo. It's his newly acquired better half. So welcome to the stream. Got Stezio in the house. Stezio Descartes. What's going on? And Larry's saying this should be fun. Yes, this should be fun. It's funny, we did a me and Dave did a test run last night, just to test out camera and mic, make sure everything looks good, and we just kind of started talking, and about 45 minutes in, I had to run and go do another one. I was like, we'll pick up where we left off from last night tonight, so we'll get into it. So but how you doing, man? I know you are in. I got my Iron City beer cracked open, ready for tonight. You got one
back there? Actually, that's one I had at the wrestling when George was shooting his wrestling video, and that was what he bribed everyone then to be help out for the wrestling video years and years and years ago.
Oh yeah, Iron City ass kickers.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
That's
that was
a fun.
Was on set with him.
How was that? Like, because that's one of his long lost.
Certainly a departure from his usual material. I mean, well, no, that's not true. It's sports related. But yeah, up to that at the present time period, I guess that was like around 2000 or so when that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I got to see him in action a little bit, which was cool. They had pizza and beer for everybody to stop by, and of course, Chris Stavrakis was the one that gave me the heads up on that, as he does lots of stuff, or has done for most of my time spent living in Pittsburgh, because we've been buddies from the very beginning. He's really who I, have to say got me all the connections that I have. So shout out to Chris for sure.
Well, it's funny because that was the first time I ever heard your name was on the Dawn of the Dead UK DVD commentary with Tom Savini and Chris Stavrakis, and they're it gets to the scene where they're at the airport. And Savini's like, where's this at? I don't remember where this was at. And Chris was like, well, it's in Monroeville. A friend of mine, Dave Burian, actually tracked it down. And Tom was like, who?
Yeah, well, that's not the first time that's happened. I mean, that's famously, that's the running joke Matt was probably referring to. Was I think one of the last commentaries George was on for a Creep Show, and something similar happened. I think Mike Felsher was saying, "Oh, Dave has this and this and this," like during the commentary, and George says, "Who?" So that's I know what Matt was talking about. So it's a long, standing running joke with all the fans that are, regulars at the show. They're like, that's why I talk about anybody just has to say who, and we know what they're referring to, which I find it hilarious. I think it's great that that's what happened. But yeah, getting back I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
I was just saying, getting back to Chris, no, that was early on. When I first came at her, just as some background, never in a million years would I have thought that I would have any of this stuff. I was just a fan. That was probably like any other fan when you first come out here. I thought, well, there's got to be a regular fan base. This was the beginning of the internet when it was happening, like the mid 1990s. So I came out the first time I went to Evans City Cemetery. Was one of the first places I went, and there was nothing. Like there was no place to get information about how would you, and I stopped at several local businesses and asked, hey, can you tell me where the cemetery or Night of the Living Dead? And at that time, nobody wanted, there was no interest in it whatsoever. And I ended up going, I think, to a beer distributor and asked them just where the cemetery was. And I went up and, hung out there. And it was within a month or two after that when I'd first met with Chris. But I mean, the fandom, I think, has always been there. But the means to express that with everyone else without the internet, I don't think it would have happened, because prior to that and me being out here, how do you connect with everybody? And there was, like, I was able, at that time, there were bulletin boards. I think that's how I met Chris, about asking questions about George and Creep Show and stuff like that. But aside from that, how would you, I do remember there was so much information, like they were saying Livermore Cemetery was where they filmed it. And I asked multiple people around, like socially, when I go out, and more than a few people, and that's still a thing, apparently. There's news articles about that people still think it was shot, the locals that are not into horror still think it was shot at this Livermore Cemetery, which is way far away south of, Pittsburgh. It makes no sense, but that's what I'm talking about. Like, the internet has really, of all the bad, I guess, it's done as far as fandom and collecting, and I know we were talking about that, before. I don't think it wouldn't have come near where it is right now without.
No way. I mean, I kind of touched on this last night with you when we were having our quick chat. But like, I don't know if I would be as into this stuff as much as I am if it wasn't for discovering people like you and Chris and Larry and Blasey and all those people that had the websites and stuff back in the day who, like, made it fun to be a fan. Like, I love these movies. I remember being, 12, 13 years old, discovering all this stuff for the first time. And then for some reason, just going online and being like, Dawn of the Dead website. And then all of a sudden, all these websites start popping up. And that's how you just start going down the rabbit hole and start realizing, oh my God, the mall is still there. You can actually go to the mall. Like, in my brain, that was like a set or something. Like, when you're a kid, you're just like, that's a set or something. That's because it's a movie. It's movie magic. And then you realize, like, oh no, all that stuff is like still there. You can actually go and visit it. So yeah, the internet, I mean, yeah. So there's been a lot of bad stuff come from, the internet, but at the same time, it has helped build a community still to this day, like through Facebook groups and, YouTube. I mean, I can't tell you how many of my closest friends that I've met through, social media, through this YouTube channel, who are just had the same story where it's just like, I didn't know anybody was still talking about this stuff. And then I found your channel and it's like, I want to talk about it too, and yeah, it's crazy. But I did want to like ask about like what that was like pre-internet, like being a fan pre-internet, like, and on top of that, being a collector pre-internet, pre-eBay, pre any of that stuff.
It was really impossible, honestly. I mean, as far as the fandom I had at an early age, because I was one of the lucky people that I turned 17, 18 at the time that VHS tapes first came out. So that was such a sea change. I mean, you had cable where you had 13 channels, then you had cable where you had some more channels, then HBO came in. This was the progression. And so you were able to see some films, like R-rated films, on your TV for the first time. But then when VHS, that changed everything, because then you could watch all these genre films that unless you lived in New York or LA or one of the other major cities, you never would have been able to see. Like Dawn, like, a number of, like, Pink Flamingos, El
Right.
Topo,
Yeah.
all the cult classics that everybody is aware of now. But back then, you weren't able to see any of them. And I remember when I was in college, like in 1983, going to the library and researching all this stuff in books, because you couldn't see any of the films. You had to go and check all that out, just by virtue of whatever was available in your whatever particular library, my library at college, a library at home, and think to yourself, well, hopefully someday soon I'll be able to watch some of these films. Not, never in my wildest dreams would I've been, oh, today you could just go online and anything that pops in your head, you can bring it up and watch it. Like, that's insanity to me. But that's where we are. So the internet isn't just good for the collecting aspect, although I know that's our subject, but for all that type of thing too, where, if somebody has a movie reference, you go, oh yeah, and just pull it up, and then you're instantly a fan as well of it, or not a fan, or
Yeah,
so
it's at the click of a button. You can find anything. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, the pre-Phantom thing though, yeah, it would not be or pre-internet, it would not be. It was almost impossible, and there was no fan connection. I mean, there was like tape trading, VHS tape trading. You can find some rarities and things like that, and that was going on too in the early 90s, because I did some of that, because that was the only other way you could interact with fellow fans. You kind of track people down that way. But it really was the early internet, where you had boards and people sharing like-minded interests all of a sudden were able to get in touch with each other. And then from that came groups like, the websites rather, like eBay, and so you could just first, and then that took a while to pick up. People didn't immediately think, hey, maybe this LaserDisc or these old 8x10s, or that, like, people would even be interested in it, because there just was not a collector's field that established whatsoever for that stuff. Because it was honestly, it was still relatively new. It was only 10 years later, maybe not. It was 30 years later, but that's really what it was, a slow evolution of all of it to get to where we are. Young kids today, you've had everything, so it's kind of like, we've always been here. But yeah, there was a time back in the old days, it was really true that and it's kind of sad, but the opposite of that is we were able to get in, and I was able to get in and get a lot of this stuff when there was no interest at all, and that's what benefited me for that. So it's kind of
and now there's the whole legion of us that are just like, oh, if only. Because I discovered eBay probably late 2000s, and that's part of my like education about like the history of these movies and horror and stuff like that, was like, go watch them and then like get online and then find out like, oh, you can actually buy the movie poster on eBay. You can actually, like, I remember seeing the board game for Dawn of the Dead the first time, and it blew my mind. And back then you could get it on eBay, it was like $20 or something like that on eBay. I ended up buying it years later for like way more than 20, but at the time that was again part of what made being a fan so fun, was like discovering all this stuff that you had no idea was out there.
Well, that crossed me too. Like my age group also. Like, I didn't know there was a Dawn of the Dead board game in the 90s. Like, I had no idea until it finally, became aware of it. Eventually we became aware of it, and like Grim Morgan, Fango and stuff like that. But I didn't know back then that it existed. I only found out probably late 90s that it was around also. So yeah, I mean, it's just at a certain point the playing field starts to level out, and you go, well, all the collectors are at the same spot, and hopefully you get some of that stuff earlier than later, than more and more people. But it's a bell curve. It's going to happen that it's going to age out and nobody's going to be interested. So hopefully you're at the beginning of the curve.
Maybe. So you're not from Pittsburgh originally. I know that's where you're at now. Where are you from originally?
Originally from Allentown, PA. which is
Okay.
also, it's about an hour north of Philly, an hour west of New York City.
Okay. So what was your first like exposure to Romero stuff, and what was the first thing that you saw that you were just like, okay, like this is my thing here. Like I love this.
Getting back to the story of watching those movies when I was able to rent them when I was 17, 18 at our local mom and pop. It was called a video store, which there was a small chain of them. Actually, it's a actually bigger chain, I think, than most people know about, but they had all the latest, all the exploitation films. So we would run in our basement, we would have like all night. This was high school. So, of course, this is the kind of thing you did in high school. Invite a bunch of friends and watch like a movie marathon where we'd watch. And I did that. Like, I remember watching Night and Texas Chainsaw and like Pink Flamingos in one night. Just boom, boom, boom. And so you would line up.
That'll fry your brain.
Absolutely.
That'll fry your brain where you're just like, oh
100%.
shit, what did I just see?
Always rent them like on a Thursday to make sure you had them for the weekend. Because it would always be, that was the plan. It worked all the time because people want to spend extra, whatever it was, $4 or $5 to do that. But yeah, it was, gosh, those were the days. I look back and go, I can't believe that. But that's what happened is I watched a bunch of the films and all Romero's films were represented back then. People find hard to believe too, but like around 81, 82 is most of that stuff was on VHS. That was when it first came out on VHS. Like I bust people about the Texas Chainsaw and the big box Wizard because nobody ever sees that anymore. But that's what the rental was back in the day. Like it's a super rare tape to find it, but that was the common rental. That was the only one that was available. But the same with the early Night version. It was the green, like the one you always talk. I think it was green. You always talk about with the zombies at the end. Or there's a bunch of zombies together. It's a black and white photo. Pretty sure that's the one that I remember seeing on the show. But that's what's crazy is you never see any of those because they're just such collector's items today. But that's how I got that started. I would watch these marathon film festivals on like a week Friday night or Saturday night with all my buddies in the basement, and sometimes we'd have dates or what have you. But it was almost like a marathon trauma fest. You watch I Spit on Your Grave. Like I remember all these movies, and you got to remember this was 3 years before that. It was just cable channels with no R-rated cable. So you're kind of budding with your puberty and your hormones, and all of a sudden it's like, oh man, what is all this stuff happening, all this crazy like insanity. And it's the perfect time when you're that age to just kind of go wacky, and that's what we got to watch. So I was really lucky that I turned, I tell people the story, I was too young to see Halloween came out, I guess it was 78. So like I was 15, so I wasn't allowed to go see it. So it's a big deal. Like I missed out on that. They're like, you're old. I'm like, how did you not get that? I'm like,
surely you've seen everything.
Well, not when it came out. And I remember being how envious I was because that was a huge game changer of a film. But I kind of ignoring your original question. So the Romero films, yeah, that's when I first, like the quality, the cream rose to the top. And the Romero films were just so, engrossing and captivating, and just you knew what you were watching was quality, and it was so much deeper with all the subtext, everything going on. It's the reason they're still massive today. White genre, and he has such a fan group of so many people that those movies came out. And then Creepshow, the day it came out, I was in the theater on the first day watching it. Like all that stuff, I was just a massive fan of. It was impossible to not be, even then. Those were definitely my favorite films of his. So it was a natural thing when I first got out to Pittsburgh, because I do traveling physical therapy that's my base, I did for a living. And that's how I got to Pittsburgh, was that I got an assignment to work out here. And they kept rehiring me. You do a 13-week assignment and they'd rehire me. And then it was the third time that I met somebody. It was towards the end of that, and I actually had to do another tour on it, which was back east. But I decided, was I going to come out here? And I had met Tom and met, George and at that time period, I'm like, oh, I got to go back. Like, this is crazy. It was too much fun and just too many connections, interests that I had at the time. Of that, yeah, it's kind of all meant to happen in one spot. And I love Pittsburgh. There's so much to love about Pittsburgh. If you've been here, I mean, it's almost more, always a more positive reaction than negative one when people come to visit. So, and that was the reaction I had, for sure.
Yeah, I got that feeling. Like, so for years and years and years since I was a kid, first discovered Romero stuff. That was my dream vacation. Like, I'd be like in high school, you'd have to they'd have the journal question at the beginning of class, like, where's your dream vacation? My answer was always Pittsburgh. Like, that was always where I wanted to go. And then finally in 2021, I finally made first trip to Pittsburgh, and I've been back, I think, 9 times at this point, like since 2021. And it's just, it's got the whole Romero connection and everything, but there's a certain feel to that city. It's like a small town vibe almost in like a bigger city. Like, there's a lot of pride in that city, whether it's the Iron City Beer, or the Pittsburgh Steelers, or there's something about it. Yeah. I encourage everybody, like, if you've never been, just go, just to experience it. It's a very cool, unique place. But yeah, it's funny how that kind of worked out for you, that you just kind of ended up being in Pittsburgh.
Chris led me to Tom's, because he was working with Tom back in the day also. And so that whole, I had watched, since I watched Creepshow the day it came out, and then getting to go to Tom's studio 10, 12 years later, and then seeing all the stuff he had at that time in his studio, and looking at the wall and everything was lined up. I like got the cosplay Jason as real Jason stuff. I mean, it was crazy. So that was all of that as a horror fan, hardcore horror fan, was such a lure. And to, be interested, and then to meet Tom and be friends with him as well. So it's like, I don't know. It just was kind of meant to be. Like, people say that about some things in life, like, it just was timing, and it all worked out the way it was supposed to be, supposed to work out, I guess. But yeah, it was just a lot of luck and timing, honestly. It's whatever your interests happen to be, you could be in a very fortunate spot, and I just was for that time in my life.
Yeah, I envy you. I'd love to. I try to make it happen all the time. Like, one of these days, I'm just gonna pack it up, move to Pittsburgh. Let's see here. A couple new folks chiming in here. The Mask Fondler, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Had Stephen Oostrack Jr. Howdy, campers. What's going on, brother? Good to see you. Saw Fenwick. Greeting from Knoxville. Go Vols. What's up, Fenwick? Saw Jeff. Down is up in the house. Michael, love the little like and subscribe creep that you have in your upper right hand corner. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's a little creep show vibe tonight. Matt Landrum's in the house. Drone of the Dead. Hope all's well. Good to see Dave on here finally. There you go. Another long-awaited guest here. And he also wanted to throw in, thank you for letting me see and hold the goods this year.
Oh, you bet. Good to do it.
So just getting back, I guess, kind of to your origin story here, and we'll move on from there. But after you're starting to discover all these films, you're starting to discover all this information. What do you remember? What your first like collectible purchase was? Like, when did you first just realize, like, oh man, I'm starting to become a collector? Like, I'm like, do you remember what your first thing was that you just had to have?
Well, the origin story starts with Bob Burns, because that's who I was friends with actor Dan Roebuck, who's from Allentown area also. And we went to visit. My father lives out in LA, and we like, there was kind of a connection there, but because my father knows a couple other actors, but didn't know Dan then. And so it just wound up meeting him at a chiller convention, Dan Roebuck, and I knew that he was like just the friendliest guy, which he was. I stopped, like, this is kind of, I tell people to do this, if you have something to say and you have like wanted to do it, stop people cold if you run into them, because I love the phrase "fortune favors the bold," because it really turns out to be true a lot of the time. I did that to him, and I just started talking about, you know, the Allentown connection about, and he said, well, you need to, you know, we kind of hung out with him at that show, and he said, you need to come out and visit sometime, you know, when you're with your dad. And I'm going, yeah, that's probably not going to be happening, but that was nice that he said this, you know. And
Appreciate the
so
gesture.
we get to the airport, and we land out in LA, and he's like, what are you guys doing? Like I said, well, we're in town, you know, I hope we can come up and see it. I was like, what are you doing? He goes, well, we just got in. He goes, well, are you coming up? I'm like, you really? Oh yeah, we got like a room if you want to hang out a couple of days. Like, I don't want to take anything away from your dad, but yeah, if you want to come hang out. So of course, you know, duh. So we went to his place and hung out with him in Burbank for a few days. And in those 2 days, what he liked to do was take folks around to see things that the average person wouldn't be able to do.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things was at the time was to see Bob Burns. And so got to meet Bob Burns and Kathy. And both of them are sadly gone now. But one thing that he did when I was there is he had King Kong, one of King Kong armatures, and he's like, here, and hands it to me. And I'll never forget that moment. Like, I was freaked out of my mind that I can't believe I'm holding it. Like, really? And I remember in that moment saying, if this ever happens that I can do this for other people, I'm absolutely going to do it, because there is nothing like this. This is just the coolest thing. And that's why I say that's such a big part of the origin story, because I always refer to him. That's why I like doing it, because there's nothing like that experience. You just can share it with other people, and everybody has their own distinct memories of it. Everybody has their own feelings. Some people have panic attacks. Some people, like, you just see the shock on their face, like they can't believe that that's what's happening. And
what's the strangest reaction you've ever gotten? Like,
well, the one guy, I don't want to mention his name, but he was from another country, and he's like literally started, like, his face turned red. He had to sit down, like he looked like he was going to pass out. And I like felt so terrible. Like, really, I did this to somebody like this? But it's just because I think it was totally unexpected. I think he had no idea that that stuff was there. And then it was over the comic book. When you see the comic book for the first, and you look at and you're like, yeah, in your head, it jars you. You go, this is the real thing. And whatever it triggered in him, it was a heck of an emotional reaction. So, but that's typically not the reaction. Most people are just really happy. And of course, something I couldn't predict back in the day were selfies. And of course, everybody wants a selfie with too, that's awesome. Like, I was lucky enough, my fiance had a camera. So there's one picture of me holding King Kong. But other than that,
I remember you sending me that picture. I don't know, probably about a year or so ago. We were talking on Facebook, and we were talking about, you know, your collection, and you know, because I think it was like right after that Living Dead weekend, where I think is where I first met you and Dan Lowry. You were hanging out with Dan Lowry, and Dan was like, hey Dave, show them what you got. And you were like, who are these people? And Dan was like, I vouch for them. Trust me. They want to see this. And so you pull out the trowel from Night of the Living Dead, the trowel, and you hand it to me. And me and my friend Will, and Will's just like, holy shit. And there's literally just that feeling of just like, it's like, it doesn't click at first. You're just like, oh, I'm holding the trowel.
It makes you feel like you're spinning your wheels until your head clicks into gear, is what it felt like. That's how I felt when I first held actually the first time I held a trowel myself. I couldn't believe I was at Bill Heinzman's table when he had it on his table. That's a whole other story. But yeah, that it was sitting there, and I'm going, like, that's the real, like, what? And that was the first thing I ever got, was the prop that I got was that trowel. But yes, exactly. I'm looking at, like, I don't even want to touch it. Like, it's such and I know that people say that too. Like, they're just like, I don't know, like, should I like, there's this reticence that people have, which I understand as a fan myself. You know, like, yeah, this is like, it's kind of terrifying in a way, like in an odd way. You go, well, what is this? Something
even like, I don't. Have you been to the archive yet?
I have a couple. Yeah, I was actually at the opening. I haven't gone to look at specific stuff, but I've heard. I mean, I've been to several of their events that they've had, so I've been able. And at that time, there's a lot of stuff that they put out, so I was able to look at quite a bit. But no, as far as reading particular specific scripts and things, I haven't done that yet.
Well, that's how I felt when I first visited the archive. Like I went in there and of course they just pull out the cart and they put out just give you free range. It's like, okay, here's everything you wanted to look at, go for it. Like have fun, or whatever. It's just like all right, do I need to wear gloves? Do I need to what do I need to do? And they're like, no, you're fine. You're fine. I was just like, okay. And you're touching this stuff, but you don't want to touch it too hard. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to touch it too hard,
Totally.
But that's kind of how that feeling is when you're when you're handed the machete from Dawn of the Dead or whatever, and you're just like, holy shit, like this is it, like this is it. So what was like the first big thing that you ever got, and how did you acquire it?
Well, the first big thing was definitely the trowel. I mean,
The trowel. And how did you come into possession of that thing? Who had it? You said Bill Heinzman had it.
It's a great story because a lot of people were still around back then. Kyra became friends with Kyra back around that time, and she was at the show, and Bill Heinzman was at the show, and Marilyn was at the show. Her dad was at the show. Like this was a Chiller Theater '97 is when I finally got it. But the previous year, Bill Heinzman had been there, and he had the trowel sitting on his table, and he wanted, I think, $1,500 for it back then, and but he wanted cash, right? So who comes to Chiller with, like, most people don't come with that kind of money for the
right, especially in 1997. That would be like $3,000, $4,000 now.
So it would have been, yeah. So I had gone that previous summer, had been with Dan and been to Bob Burns and been like, well, here's a cool prop. Like, when am I ever going to see this again? But kind of, there's no way I can get any money. Like was working, but I didn't have the credit card with a high enough balance at the time. That's a lot. I don't know if I can do it. So I had a chance to think about it, and it took about a year. I thought about it all that fall. Like this was Halloween, right around Halloween in 97 or 96. So I'm like thinking about the trial. I'm going, man, I really regret that I didn't figure out a way to get this. Like this is really cool. Like I know that it's a memorable scene. Like that's kind of how my brain went after everything. Was like, if I can have something that everyone's going to recognize from that movie, you just show it to them. Be like, oh, I know what this is, kind of. And that's where my head went with that. Like everybody knows that it's such a great, memorable scene. And I knew Kyra. I'm like, boy, I should probably get that if I have the opportunity to get it again. So he had it. Oh no, he. So that spring, I remember asking if he was at the show, and he was not at the show. So, which was Chiller Theater usually had 2 or 3 shows back in the day, around the late '90s. So he wasn't there, and I'm going. This was a Saturday. Was the last time I had seen him. So I'm going. He sold it. It's got to be. He's not gonna. What am I gonna? What's the chances? So rolls around again, and it's fall of '97, and he has it on his table again, but apparently he had some interest in it, right? So now it's 2000, and I'm going, oh geez, really? Like I had worked myself up to the 1,500, and I'm going, what do I do? And I was like, no, I have to have this if this is going to happen. Like it needs to. I mean, I'm friends with these people. I think it might have been a little different, and I would have been pushed over the cliff if I hadn't known everyone. But I asked them. This was a Friday night, and I saw it was on the table again, and I'm holding it. And I'm like, it had, the signatures that they signed at '93 at the Zombie Jamboree were already on it. Because I know people hassle me like, why do you get all these other more signatures? Because there's a huge debate in the prop community. Oh, it's worth less if their signatures are. I'm like, what does it matter? You get some nail polish remover, you can take all the signatures if you want to. Like, who cares? It's on metal, like it doesn't matter.
Right.
But it's cool. I think it's cool to have them, and because a lot of people are gone that are,
Yeah, especially for night, man. Yeah.
So, oh gosh. So anyway, I ended up seeing it again. It was that Friday night, and of course, I didn't bring that money with me, not realizing that it was even going to be there, or he was going to be there, and it was going to be there. So that Friday night, I remember, like, how am I going to come up with this money? Because again, he would only take cash. And I was able to. I didn't sleep the entire night. That morning, following morning, 9 o'clock, I went to. It was in Secaucus where they have bulletproof glass tellers windows and did a cash advance on my card and got the money. And we also had a vendor pass, so I was able to wait for him when he came in and not knowing even if he had it or I'm going to be carrying this cash with me the rest of the day. And luckily he was there, and he did. And he said, "Oh yeah, people were interested, but you're the first one here." And I kept saying to him, "Are you sure you want to sell this?" Because I'm thinking he's, maybe not. And he's like, "I'm going to Vegas," is what he said. "I'm going to Las Vegas and I need money because I want to gamble." That's literally what he said to me. So, okay. All right.
Wow.
That's like, so I gave him the money.
Usually that's something you do after you come home from Vegas. You know what I mean?
Usually something you need to do when yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Right. But so there's thankfully the camera. So there's just a bunch of pictures, taking pictures with, buying at the time. So I did get it then. And I was so excited to show it to Kyra. There's like pictures of that and show it to a number of other people that weekend. And I saw him later that night before close, and he said, "You're really lucky." I said, "Why?" He said, 3 other people came to buy that today with cash, because if you wouldn't have had the vendor pass, you would have been out of luck. That would have been it. And I mentioned that story to her dad, the Kyra's dad, and he said, "Well, it was just, you were the one that was supposed to have it. Like, that's just why it worked out that way. Is kind of how." And I don't know.
So.
Maybe
I wonder who the other 3 were.
I don't know, but I mean, I really was not friends with. Like, he had no reason to lie about it. Like, I really think that people came up and vendors probably made money that Friday, because I think one of them was a vendor. I don't know for certain, but like, I've heard names tossed around. Nobody's really said, mentioned it to me in public, but the fact that he said 3, like, that kind of doesn't surprise me, because why would you let it get away a second time if you, and this was a funny time because the internet was starting up and people were starting to auction stuff online, and maybe somebody thought, I could put this on eBay and sell it and get more than that. I could flip it right away, because that wasn't as much, eBay was not as much of a thing the previous year. So I think that's all true, how it worked out. But so that was the answer to your question. That was a long story about how I got my
that's a great story. I've always wondered, how you come across a lot of this stuff that you have, and how you got a hold of it. And the trowel is like the big one, because to me, that scene in Night of the Living Dead is Romero's shower scene from Psycho. Like, the way that it's shot, it's one of the most perfect. And it's funny because it was his first film and, all that, but it's like one of the most perfectly cut, shot. The sound in that is so intense. Yeah. Like, to me, so it'd be like owning the knife from Psycho, from the shower scene type of thing. It's just like, holy shit,
Well, Stephen King in 2003 he was doing the Pop of King articles for Entertainment Weekly, and because I sent the magazine on that page and framed it and gave it to Kyra, because he said that scene was the most, I think the quote was, the most frightened he'd ever been in a movie theater was that scene. And he describes the scene. So, I mean, this is years after I already had it, but I thought, oh my gosh, if I can have the thing that scared Stephen King the most, like, are you kidding me? Like, just as a bonus, out of the blue like that. That's just so cool to me, because I'm obviously a big fan of his also.
Oh yeah.
Okay. If you know, so yeah, she
Griff wants to know, Mask Fondler Griff, which he quote mentioned earlier, says, "Big good day, Dave." Griff from Australia and the 90s Sabini chat here. Thanks for letting me fondle your memorabilia a few years ago. I haven't washed my hands since.
My Griff. No,
I also wanted to know.
Okay. I don't have the song. It's not on there. I can look. Here, look and see.
All right, he's showing the guy. I was about to ask. Here we go.
There you go.
So that is the trowel that you see stuck in Marilyn Eastman's chest in the film. That's it.
Yeah, they only had one trowel, and it was this one. Getting it without the shadows here. because if
Wow.
you look closely, you can see it the best on the 4K version. There is a smaller trowel that exists in the film. You see it a lot better in the 4K, which I was like, uh-oh, what's going on with that? Because I've actually sat with Kyra and gone over it, all this stuff to like, are you sure? Is this what it,
Uh-huh.
like, are you sure it's the same? She's like, I was young, but when you try to match it up, even with her still photos, her 8x10s, because there's a number of those, it looks exactly the same. Like you can't, it's not like there's any features on it that are different.
Yeah.
And the kind of the provenance of the whole thing makes total sense as to it being this one. There'd be no reason to have another one.
Right.
And there's
Especially-
commentary about it that Bill Heinzman talked with George about him getting it, and it was in the basement of the Latent Image building, and that's how he ended up with it. On the later, what happened? They had the flood, and then they were cleaning the flood out, and this is what they talk about. Now, I can't speak to it actually happened, but this is what they say, is that there was a flood and that Bill was able to find it and retrieve it. And George said, well, then you just keep it, since you were able to find it. They had some stuff from the Crazies were there too, some of the gas masks. And
wow.
the suits were still in the Latent Image basement as well. There wasn't a lot that was saved. They lost a lot of the props that they had saved in the basement back in the. But this was one of the few things that was so like that adds to the mystique of the trial itself. Like it survived all those years and all the.
I mean, it's pretty amazing, that it has survived all these years. And Jeff pointing out here, you kept it in incredible condition considering how old it is. Yeah, it looks amazing. And the signatures, I was looking at the signatures on that thing. I saw Chili Billy. You got Chili Billy on there. You got Joe Unitas, which is a name that I don't know hardly anybody has on anything.
Yeah, John, even Keith Wayne's on there. The only one who's not is Dwayne. Because he was gone, sadly. But
do you have Dwayne on anything by chance?
I don't have Dwayne on anything. I wish that I did. I mean, I don't even have any collectibles with his name on anything. I know that they exist. They're out there, but I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's got to be like one of the rarest signatures to find is a Dwayne Johnson. And sometimes every now and then something will pop up on eBay, but nobody can 100% verify that it's an actual signature. But like that's like one of the most rare signatures out there is Dwayne Jones.
He is. Have anybody shown you these before? Did Larry have on or anyone else?
I've seen that somewhere before. I can't remember. I can't remember if Vulo or Larry or somebody pulled that out.
Okay.
I just wondered.
I know you were saying, bring some stuff that's different or interesting, or because this was it's the scrapbook, one of the scrapbooks, and supposedly Marilyn said this was one of the last ones that she made. They made 2 different versions. It's just there are 8x10s. I tell this for collectors because once in a while one comes up for sale, and it's just called Night of the Living Dead scrapbook, but there's all kinds of ephemera and memorabilia. It's stuff that she took out of her archives, and then you can see like just made Xerox, made copies of, and then put them all together. And almost everything you can take out and expand and read, and it's really fascinating stuff. But they had saved one. In fact, that same weekend, as I got the trowel, was when I was able to get this because she sold out of them immediately.
Oh yeah, I imagine
you had to have been back, there in the day to pick it up. And a lot of the original 8x10s, like there weren't a lot of color ones back then. This was 97, this book, so.
Again, going back to like pre-internet, like just happened to be in the right place at the right time type of thing.
Yeah.
Vulo pointing out Hurricane Agnes hit Pittsburgh in 1972 and caused the flood. So there you go. But yeah, it's incredible, especially just with those signatures and stuff on that trowel. You wonder, has anybody ever like given you like an insane offer for it?
No, I mean, I get like I don't know, so my inbox is flooded with people that are always either wanting to broker a deal or like it just. I think word has gotten out that I'm not interested in selling. Like that's not what it was about. So that's kind of stopped now. Once in a while, I get it that people want to. I'm like, you can see it in person. Like that's what I tell them. Like, come to one of the shows, and I'll be happy to show. You can hold it, and like, so you kind of know what people are about when they. Oh, that's not good. Like, well, it's gonna have to be. Sorry.
I want it in my living room.
I mean, I'm not an idiot. If somebody said, "We'll give you $1 million for this," like, yeah. I mean, I might have to crumble in the face of that. I'm going to need money at some point myself. But I'm luckily I've been so fortunate that I have a low key, level of existence. I'm around people that have things. I don't have things myself necessarily, except for the props. The people don't really get that about me. Like, I'm not independently wealthy. I'm really not. I did physical therapy thing for a long time. But I don't have a huge stash somewhere of savings because I've had medical issues my whole life, and that's where most of my money has gone, sadly, to make sure I had insurance for that. So that's why you hear talk about that. Like, that's really the problem, is it's just like been an ongoing thing. But despite all of it, I'm blessed and very, very fortunate that I've been able to do what I do. And that's the biggest kick for me. I think it makes me healthier to be able to do what I do and sharing stuff with other people. So the money, it's not a draw. It's not like, as much as it would be for most other people. I've been with my fiance 30 plus years. Like, everybody, we've been to 7 weddings, and I think everybody's divorced, and we're still together, now. Like, I love telling that story because I visited my mom not long ago, and we did that, and the women are like, oh, you've been together 30 years. How long have you been married? And I tell them, oh, no, we aren't married. Like, they really get mad at that. Like, I'm sorry. Like, doesn't necessarily work out the way you think it does.
Yeah, you don't. It's like you don't want to jinx it. It's like, I know the moment we actually get married, it's like that's when we're gonna break up. It's like
we've been, the two of us have worked it out so that we're both sad. We both have our obsessions about things, and we are able to indulge them somewhat. And I don't have terrible habits that the money goes out the window, which is also a big thing that can happen in relationships. So it goes this stuff, but the money that I did have is pretty much, but it's paid much, much, much greater dividends than any money amount could, because I've met so many people and continue to meet people I never would have met. And that's really what's more fun. Way more fun for me than what I could buy, with an extra, whatever, 20, 30,000 or whatever you would have. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Get you a car, or something, put a house, you gotta buy a house,
Right. I mean, I don't like, people think that they're like, I don't have my own car or house, believe it or not. I don't. So, like, those folks are like, oh, this freaking guy. Like, I'm sorry. That's not the narrative. It's not true. Like, come clean on the show. I don't think I've ever brought that up before, but it's true. I think most people think that, oh, you have all this stuff and you're this and that. Like, and imagine the comments. Like, no, I don't. I just have not. All that money's every month has been going to paying this stinking insurance on, which is, for somebody like myself, I'm lucky to have insurance at all, but very lucky.
Yeah.
So, keeping it real. Good place to do it here.
Yeah, man. That's what we do. Brandon Salisbury's in the house. Says, good evening, everyone. Glad to see some of my favorite people here. I think Dave sold my friend a photo of Tom and George on the set of Day of the Dead, which was a birthday gift to me. Do you remember selling a photo of Tom and George on the set of Day?
I don't remember that, Brandon. I mean, I believe that could be the case, only because I sell things so rarely. And the friends in the chat would tell you a lot of the stuff I give away. So I'm kind of like, it's possible for sure that I did that, but I don't remember doing that. Like, that would be a real rare one-off, honestly.
You probably gave it to the dude, and he was like, oh yeah, Dave sold this to me for a big amount of money, but it's your birthday present, Brandon, from me to you.
I mean, I've gotten things from other collectors, and that's what I've done. Like, I haven't turned around and sold it. I've been like, here, you guys take. I mean, I still have way too much, obviously, and I like doing
it. It gets to a point where you're just like, okay, what can I just start? I think so and such would appreciate this more than me. Yeah, it gets to a point. I'm getting there.
Yeah, I'm on the starting of the down slope of the bell curve. Like you just, not that you don't enjoy what you have, because I absolutely do, but you need to, you get those first inklings and seeds of starting to downsize things. So you go, this is like kind of crazy. Like I enjoy a lot of it. Like I get the entire, because that was most of my life has been collecting things. And then you go, well, maybe did a little bit more time. It's always the time money trade off for everything, and
Yeah.
time money space trade off. You have too much. Like I've had
Space is a
people
big thing
suggest.
for me.
I've had other folks come to me first with stuff and said, "Would you like this? Would you like to have this? Would you like this prop, that prop?" I'm like, honestly, please. I have more than I need. Anyone, let everyone else get a turn, please. Because it's just that another thing that people can't believe is that you're actually satisfied with what you have. Like, yeah, you should. If you,
Oh, yeah.
you get to, if you're like, it's almost like a Zen thing. You can get to that moment in your life. You're really lucky that you can go. I mean, not that I don't still get new releases of Blu-rays and when films come out or new books, or like, yes, I certainly do when there's the subjects of that. But as far as the collecting of, I have to have this from this movie and this, like, whatever else comes up, I'm like, no, that's enough of that.
I've kind of gotten that way with like toys, like action figures. Like there was a period there where I had to have every Dawn of the Dead figure. I had to have every night, like anything that came out figure wise, had to have it. And I've gotten to a point now where I'm just like, I don't have like, because figures are kind of hard to display, and I like to make sure that I have my shit out. And I got to the point where I was just like, I can't do it, because the new Trick or Treat Studios Day of the Dead figures came out. Of course, the new Night of the Living Dead figures from Zolo World came out, and there's all these figures coming out at one point. The distinctive dummies, like they're really cool. Like I really dig them, but at some point, I'm just like, I can't. Like I don't need any more figures.
Absolutely. I mean, I just picked up, they had the dove on top of the mall topper that I had to get that, because that's like the coolest thing ever. I had to get.
I freaking missed out on one of those.
Yeah, it's very cool. So
yeah, I love shit like that. The stuff that like Paul gets, like the screen accurate, like if you know type stuff.
100%.
I love posters and shit. Like I'll go crazy on that stuff. But like toys, like it's just like all that stuff. It's like I just don't have fucking space for. But yeah, that dove on top of the clock tower, man, that was, because I think those sold out like immediately at Living Dead weekend. I think by Friday night they were all gone, and I was just like, shit. But Jeff had a question here.
Sure.
Jeff had a question here. It said, which piece in your collection is your holy grail? And also, are you on the hunt for anything else right now? Kind of.
Well, honestly, I mean, there's several pieces that are holy grails in the collection. I mean, the Creepshow comic book, of course, like that's something. I saw the movie the day it came out, so if I look at everything, I'll go, if I look at a Romero film and I go, is there anything in the movie that I would want, what would it be? And that was what I would consider to be like how you would judge your grail, was based on that. So Creepshow, well, maybe one of the crates and the comic book would probably be the thing that I have. So I ended up with both of them. All right, so there's two grails. So then you go, well, how about Night? Well, Night was obviously the trowel. So I have that grail. From Dawn of the Dead, like, what's the coolest thing for that? To me, it was the Tom scene and with the machete that he's carrying. That's his thing, and the Say Goodbye Creep line. I mean, other people like the sword more and the bike. Like, I get that. That's cool. But that's such an iconic line when he says that.
And
so
just the shot, Lenny Lee's, the reverse shot, of it going into his head and the face. Yeah. I mean that is literally like the poster image in some countries, is just that shot of the machete in the head. So it's iconic. Speaking of, do you have the machete handy?
I do. What was the part of his question, by the way?
He was asking if you're on the hunt currently for anything.
No, I'm not. Here's the machete. I'm not on the hunt currently. But I mean, you never know. There's a piece that I saw recently that was from one of my favorite films. That was not a Romero film. There's the machete. And people buy it, talking about, I wonder if Paul can respond. I wonder if he has one of these, because I know somebody else got one of these too. They sell these on eBay all the time now. It's like a World War II bayonet is what it is, machete, 1944. And you can look online and they sell them all the time. Like people buy them like as a proper like type thing, which I get. I mean, for me, thank goodness, there's endless documentation that I have this stuff if I ever want to, would want to sell it. Not that I do, but like that's always an issue, especially in today's world of prop collecting. Like
yeah.
So I wonder that, I don't know any stories that were negative about that, but just like you always kind of wonder when stuff goes up.
Especially these days.
I'll tell you this since it's out and people may not know. I'm sure not everybody has gone to the shows. But we thought that this was the other machete that Lenny has in his head when they pull it out in this fashion.
There you go.
And it's not. And the only reason we figured it out is because we had the 8x10 color of this image of it, and it's a different hilt entirely. It's not the same kind of hilt that's on the other machete. So, of course, Chris and I, back in the day, were going, well, what other film would it be? Is Maniac or like? And here turns out to be the Friday 4 machete that kills Jason at the end of Friday 4 that Tom did the effects for. So, like, that's way cooler to a lot of people than if it had been.
Yeah.
We got this. My fiance actually bought this as a gift outright from Tom back in the day. Is how I got both of those machetes.
Okay.
As a gift for me. And he put this, he's like, well, you have to have them both if you're going to, okay, great. And then the fact that it was a bonus is kind of insane that it was the bonus happened to be that, worked out that way. But so, yeah, for some people I meet, that's their favorite prop of all time. They're not even interested in anything else. Which is
man. I mean, that's probably like maybe the most famous kill scenes of Jason's kill scenes in any of the films is, he goes down, he got the machete inside of his head, he goes down, he slides down the machete. Like, yeah, I totally see that.
That was supposed to be his last movie.
Sure.
Last Friday.
Final Friday. Yeah.
Right. It was not
final chapter.
Right. Which is, hilarious. And of course, when you're that successful, I don't blame him. But
yeah. Well,
yeah,
we got Roy. Like Jason's dead, we can bring in Roy. For part 5, it'll be fine. Nobody will care. Yeah, that's so you bought those directly from Tom. Have you bought anything else that you got like directly from Tom himself?
My fiance bought this guy in the corner, E.G., which is, the Creepshow bust from Creep, at the end, Mr. Pratt.
Yeah.
He's sitting up there guarding everything.
I didn't even notice it until you pointed at it. I was like, oh shit.
Way back in the day too. That was when we were still like actively, people would come to us and say, hey, would you be interested? Would you? And the irony of that piece was that I wasn't even like, I thought, well, that's neat. And Tom had been taking it to different shows, but it wasn't the top thing on my, wasn't a grail for me really. But she thought, well, I want to get something, like I want to have something too. So she's, I'm obviously the face of it, but that's something that she got for herself. Really. Cool. We share everything. So it's,
See, Jeff chimed in and said, I can't say if it's 100% true, but I believe Tom mentioned to me that it's the same machete he also used in the first Friday the 13th. So
that could be. I'm not sure. I guess the way you'd have to do that is to screen match it. I'm not sure if you're talking about the like, is it the machete you're talking? Which machete? The cutout one or the other one?
If I remember the story correctly, I think the machete, not the cutout one, the full machete. Yeah, the Dawn machete. I think, if I remember correctly, I do remember hearing that story now, that was the machete they used to cut off Betsy Palmer's head.
Oh,
which is actually Tasso. Did you see the the hairy knuckles? I feel like I remember hearing that story now that Jeff brings it up. So they may use the same machete for that.
I'm pretty sure one of them was in Maniac also. Not that that's the key selling point of it, but I did remember hearing that, and we were.
I love Maniac. I'm all about some Maniac. So that's a selling point for me. Anything from Maniac. Paul says, I have a Cornetta number 127 machete, but it's a slightly different model. The curve is different, still cool, and it's signed by Tom and Lenny. So there you go.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That's something similar there.
It's not like it's the proper like type thing. Like like that's the next best thing you're gonna have, and it's this. I love that people are such fans of it. They dig all this stuff up, that they research it, they find it, they track stuff down.
Yeah, is it just like I'm a horror fan, I love all that stuff, but for some reason it just feels like there's something about George's films where the fandom is on a certain level to where there are people that will collect propalikes, just something that happens to be in the background of the film, like there's people like Paul or people like me, shit, like if I come across Iron City beer, I mean in Dawn of the Dead, they you see a quick 2-second shot of them cracking open an Iron City beer, and Iron City beer is now forever linked to Dawn of the Dead. You know what I mean? Like, is it a George thing? It just feels like there's something specific, and maybe it's because everything was shot regionally, so they used real stuff, and it doesn't have the Hollywood vibe to it. I don't know, but do you know of any other fandom like that for any other film, really?
I don't. I mean, it's tough when you get into a specific set of fandom. Like I know there's lots of other films that have this type of fandom related to it, like Phantom of the Paradise does, The Big Lebowski does.
Mm-hmm.
Like unless you're immersed in their environment, I have a feeling that a lot of that stuff goes on also. But you get to be in a fan-centric thing where you go, oh my gosh, I can't. Like I think that's an easy thing to get not sidetracked into, but it's an easy thing to believe. Like this is the only thing that's got all. I mean, I think there are films. I think it's obviously true that his films stand out more than even those other films, only because there's conventions every weekend in the United States, and there's going to be a huge Romero presence at all of them.
Oh,
like you can't say that about whether it's merchandise, whether it's propa-like stuff, there's always stuff there. I was just at Midsummer Scream in Long Beach last month, and the amount of Romero items was crazy. Like the propa-like stuff, all the various merch, the t-shirts, like you would with any film. But I don't think that happens with other cult films even closely. Probably because George has multiple films.
Yeah,
he's got a catalog of films that you're pulling in, day, dawn, night. I mean, Creepshow, like all these films that were massively popular, even if they weren't hugely popular in the day, or were outright criticized, or like I remember that being a big thing because I lived through those, more of the dawn and day part of it, but. Oh my gosh, the critics they were savaged about how brutal the movies were and inappropriate and this and that. And, there was no cultural subtext. There was no, none of it to any of it. And it's only been years later that, and to be fair, probably into the 90s is when it first started being realized that people said, oh yeah, these are actually really great films. It took a while though. Definitely on first watch. A lot of the horror films were like that. Halloween, I think, was like that too. But yeah, George's films, definitely. That was a big, it was like a little bit of a hill to climb, but we know where we are today. They're all revered still.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally, a convention that happens multiple times a year based solely around George's films, like I do a YouTube channel where that's all I talk about, like every week I come on here and I talk about George's films, it's something about, there is something, I don't know, just lasting about those films that people, multiple generations, like I'm younger, like I was, 11, 12, 13 when I first started discovering these films, and they were already, like, this is probably early 2000s, so they were already 20 30 years old at that point. You know, Night of the Living Dead was about 30 years old at that point. I mean, Night of the Living Dead 30th anniversary edition. It probably just come out around that time. I remember seeing that and being like, what the fuck is that? But it's just something that resonates with with every generation. I don't know how to explain it. But talking about different collectibles and stuff and your holy grails, are there any white whales out there? Anything that you've always wanted, or anything that you were this close to getting that just kind of slipped through your fingertips, or anything that you've always looked for that you've never been able to track down?
Well, I'm a big fan of Night Gallery, which is not related to Romero at all, but that was one of the I used to watch that show when I was very young. One of my first earliest influences, sitting and watching with my grandmother, because my mom wouldn't let me watch it. So we would sit and watch, and the paintings. The pilot film in '69 had a painting called The Cemetery. That's still my favorite anthology. I mean, no deference, the creep show aside, but it's my favorite anthology segment. It's just so creepy. And if you ever get to see that, I highly recommend the Night Gallery. It's the first first story of an anthology film.
I've never seen any of the Night Gallery stuff, but I actually saw today they actually have the entire series at Walmart on DVD right now, because it's Halloween, so they're starting to put out their Halloween stuff. I saw they have the entire series at Walmart for like $12, so I might go pick that up and check it out.
I think the pilot film's included in that too, so it would be the first thing you watch. Would be that.
Yeah, I might do that.
It's Roddy McDowall and Ossie Davis. Well, that painting came up, and I really, really wanted it, and we put an insane bid on it. I mortgaged the entire credit cards that I had. I think the reserve, or the low reserve, was $2,500, and I think I put $25,000.
Wow.
I wanted more than, and instantly you've been outbid. All right, well, there you go. So
that's gotta be heartbreaking. You're just like, all right,
God.
I'm throwing my best punch here, and it's like you throw it, and it's like they come right back at you, and you're like, all right, I give up.
It was
It's
totally heartbreaking. And then who ended up winning it? Well, it was two others battled it out. But who ended up winning it was the Paul Allen, he's since passed, but he was a billionaire. So yeah.
Yeah, good luck with that shit. It's like getting into a bidding war with
what I hear
Elon Musk.
And he's passed, and I was hoping it would make it. That's who I heard that it went to, and it's since been long vanished. Like, nobody knows where it is. It hasn't surfaced. So I don't know if it's like a personal thing that they like, that he bought it, and so the family has it displayed somewhere. Like, obviously, I don't know any inner workings of any of that, but I know that Guillermo del Toro is a big collector of Night Gallery stuff also, and he has 2 of the 3 paintings from the first Night Gallery pilot film. There were 3, and he has 2 of them. I'm thinking if anybody can wrangle that out, it would be him, but he still doesn't have it either. So I don't know what to say. I don't know that we'll ever see it again. It's just one of those things for me. I would be satisfied just seeing it in person once.
Yeah.
To check it out. Be like, this is awesome. Like, wow, I'm in the presence of this. Like, that's really cool.
This is the thing. Yeah.
It was, meant to be, not meant to be. There's another piece. I loved Carrie growing up, and one of the scenes that freaked me out more than anything else was the St. Bartholomew in the closet when they put Carrie in it. Like, that's such an amazing moment in the book too, and it's like, I know the book has rocks falling down. Like, they shot some of those scenes, but didn't include them in the final film that De Palma directed. But no, that scene is like the creepiest, and they do like a slow pan on it, and the eyes are lit up in the back, and it's like, the arrows coming out of it. That's a piece of it, and I've actually found somebody does have that, which I thought it was long.
That's what I was going to ask you, if you know if that's still even out there.
And they're not interested in selling it, so, which I can totally respect, but yeah, there's something out there that's
damn.
Like, that's a piece that would be a grail. Like, very often, if it was anything I would trade, or like, I might consider that, because that's such a cool, creepy, you're recapturing as a prop person, you're recapturing your childhood. Like,
it's like getting the opportunity to like own a piece of your I don't know, own a piece of your life. That doesn't really make any sense. But owning a piece of something that made you into the person that you are now. You know what I mean? It's like something that had such an impact on you growing up that
You're totally right about that. I'd never heard it quite put that way, but that's excellent. Yeah, it's true. It's true. It makes you who you are, and that's why sharing it is so much cooler, because it's made all these people as fans who they are as well. You're right about that. Like, it was a moment where this probably contributed to their fandom of all things Romero. So, I use the explanation that completes the cycle of you saw something when you were younger. You know, it's like the Hannibal Lecter quote. You know, our scars have the power to remind us that the past was real.
Yeah.
Same type of thing. Like, you saw something when you were younger, you have it in your hand in real life 30, 40 years later, and it completes that. Like, here's something you saw on the screen, and
it's like that.
Like,
full
this was the real
moment,
thing that I experienced when I was younger. Like, it's just really cool to me that I can do that. So
I know one thing. Actually, I think I remember us talking about at one point on Facebook is the rifle from Night of the Living Dead. Ben's rifle.
Mm-hmm.
What's the story with that? Like, was it up for auction at one point and then somebody bought it and it's kind of disappeared again, or did it turn out not to be?
I think it's in somebody has it in a collection. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it's vanished. I mean, when you have like it's like some people like to keep stuff and then keep it private, and that's fine. I respect that. I think it's in a private collection though. I don't think it's gone, like that it vanished, gone. There's other props that were out there that I don't know who has it, like the jack handle. I know that was something.
Mm-hmm.
That's I'm in a private collection somewhere. I don't know who has that. I mean, honestly, I'm not 100% on who has the rifle. I'm pretty sure it's in the collection though.
Because that would be something.
Like, there's a number of things that were like the radio too. I know is in that's a private collection also. They just had the auction a couple days ago for the Marilyn's dress.
Yeah, I saw that. I guess her son put up some of the stuff that she had in her collection, the dress and some photos.
And that sold, I think that was around 10,000. I think it sold for.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, I mean, it wasn't crazy price, but it's respectable. I mean, for what it is. I actually had this is funny to me, just because I wouldn't want to get rid of it, but I had one of the prop plate. I don't want to mention which one again, but it was one of the number of them. I'll say it wasn't Prop Store, but it was one of the other like 3 or 4 big ones. And I asked them to evaluate like what they thought the trial was worth, and they said 15,000. So I'm like, okay, that sounds.
It's a good return on your initial investment, you know.
Well, I mean, if you follow what some of the props go for, it's like ridiculous. Like,
they got
the Poltergeist doll was like almost $500,000. Like, some of the stuff goes for ridiculous prices, which
and it's really it's all about finding the person that's willing to pay it. Like, that's
2 people, yeah, like 2 people will be who bids it up. And like you said, it's insanity, but it's been nothing. The horror genre for some reason seems to have the biggest, aside from some of the key Star Wars stuff. The horror genre seems to have the most consistent like increases as far as what people, what fans are willing to get. But I think that's part of that is because there are museums out there that don't have a lot of it, and I know that there's a lot having to do with merchandising also that people want to take advantage of too, that they want to have like the original piece of whatever it happens to be so they can make a great copy of it. Like, that makes sense to me. Like the dress, for example, that could be something the merchandiser could have wanted, that, that's what drives the price up too. So who knows? Right now is kind of a big question as far as what's, the values are, because economy, who knows what's happening. Like, I don't know what's happening.
Exactly. Well, I know we were talking about it on some stream or maybe in one of the group chats or something like that, but we were talking about the painting of the Knight Riders poster art is up on eBay right now, and they want $1 million for it, is the asking price. But if you put it in your
$1 million, okay.
It's
You
listed for
know,
$1 million, but if you put it in your watch list, they'll send you an offer for like 500,000 or something. So it's still just like insane.
You know, it's a tough. I talk about because I'm obviously interested in what the stuff is worth that I have, and I always go around. I pay close attention to what's happening in the market all the time, just as a matter of curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they will do that where they like that just happened in prop store recently, and there are a couple of their items that my personal opinion, they were priced super high for what they were, but at the same time, I guess if you're expecting to sell to a museum, then it's not, too high.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think most of the things I have, if I would sell them, I would start at like what I know I could get for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's people interested, then let them take over and do what they're going to do. But I think a lot of it is more people they want to bid against each other.
Mm-hmm.
To be a game like that, I think you see that happening.
It's competition. It's like an arms race for some people.
Yeah,
it's just to have.
Too. So it's the quality of the stuff is going to win out, and you don't know what piece is going to be like that.
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Well, that was it's kind of what happened with that 16 millimeter print of Martin that got discovered. The long lost black and white 2.5 hour cut that Georgia always talked about for years and years and years. And when that finally came up, there was the talk of them, putting it up for auction and all that. And that was like when I almost went overboard on something. So right around that time that the news came out that the print had, been uncovered, they was like, okay, this is it. Like Mike Gornick signed off. I was like, yeah, that's my signature on it. That's the print. Gornick was going to be at a horror hound in Cincinnati that year, and I made the trip up and talked to Gornick about it. Just 'cause I was curious. I was like, so that's it, just talking about it. And he was like, oh yeah, that's the print. That's the print. I think they're going to put it up. They're going to try to sell it. I was like, well, what do you think something like that would be worth? And he was like, oh, I don't know, maybe 10,000, something like that. And Martin is like one of my all-time favorite movies, like not just George movies, but just favorite movies, period. And so he said $10,000, and I remember, I was like, okay, and we were talking, and he was like, well, the lady that actually has the print that's looking to sell it, she said she might be here because I think she lived in like Berea, Kentucky, or something like that. I think is what he said, which was like maybe an hour away from Cincinnati. And I said, oh, really? And he was like, yeah. She told me personally that she might be here. And I was like, well, do you think she would sell it? Like, because I was ready to buy it, like just to make sure that it didn't disappear again. Like I could make sure it gets into the right hands type of thing. Yep. I was ready to go full bore. So I was on the phone with my fiance. I was just like, look, like we'll come up with this money somehow. Like I'll sell whatever I need to sell to make it happen. But this is important. Like I don't want this disappearing, or some, like you said, some collector to just buy it and put it on a shelf or whatever, just to have it. I want to make sure that it, the right thing happens to it. So I'm like, negotiating, like, okay, if I can make an offer for $10,000 and she'll sell it to me, like, but unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you ask, I guess if you ask me or my fiance, she didn't end up showing up, so it didn't happen. But I was really surprised to see when it did end up going to auction, how much it went for. 50, I think it was like a little over $50,000. And I know Greg ended up winning it out. I know he's talked about that in public now, which it seemed like that was kind of hush hush at first. It was just like, but he's kind of come out with it. But I'm glad that happened, because that was like the one thing that George always talked about. Anytime he talked about Martin, was this black and white cut that he wishes he could see again,
Sure. Well, I hope we all get to see it. I mean, that would be great.
Yeah.
I don't know any more than you do, honestly. I behind the scenes stuff of that. I'd like to see it too. Hopefully it gets a release at some point.
It's a Rubenstein thing. Yeah.
Well, unless they have limited showing somewhere, or have, I don't know. We'll have to wait and like everything else. We just have to wait and see what happens.
from what I've heard, it's Richard just saying, no, you're not allowed to show that to anybody. Like I've heard that I think three or four people, maybe a couple more than that now from the last time that I heard that number, but just very few people have actually seen it at this point. I think even at one point, John Amplis was supposed to be able to go see it, and for whatever reason, Richard put the kibosh on that and wouldn't allow it. So it sounds like they're just kind of waiting out, until Richard passes or whatever's going to happen with the rights to that movie after the fact to do anything with it. But yeah, they need to do something, like you said, limited screenings or some kind of release or something. But yeah, I'm dying to see that.
I'm optimistic that it's going to get, out there in some form or fashion. I really think that people are going to, like, I don't understand that's just not how my mind works. Why you would keep something from the public like that? Like, you'd find some way to do it. Like, that's just not me. I know that's how some other people are, but I don't, it does not compute to me.
Yeah.
But, everybody has their own thing and their own business. If it's a business decision, that's how business decisions work for some people. I don't know. I'm with you on this. I mean, there's a huge fan base right now that would be interested in seeing it. So business-wise, it makes sense to me to be like, now is the time to show it to people when they're really interested. Or it could be that you don't want to show it just because you don't have to. It could be that too.
That's what it sounds more like to me. It's just Richard playing hardball, saying no. Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird to me how people react differently, but here's what it is. I don't stress about it. I'm sad that we can't see it. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I'd love to see it. I'm a big fan of Martin also, but you kind of go, all right, you have this on one hand, and then you have these other people on the other. You can get to do this and this and this, and it's like, all right.
Yeah. I think it'll happen eventually, but
Yeah, it's tough. We can't make. I mean, this is like the people with the that want to get the stuff from me. I'm sure they feel the same way.
The son of a bitch won't sell. Think of an offer he can't refuse.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you, I get crap because I haven't let them laser scan EG, or, I have a couple other things they want to laser scan it. But like, can we just do this one time? You do this one time, everybody's going to have it. And blah, blah,
yeah.
blah.
Yeah.
Hello. Like, I didn't fall off the turnip truck yesterday. I mean, come on, really? Like, I see that part of it too. So I'm kind of guilty of it in a way myself. But you got to protect because I have to give a shout out to my bud Andrew Santagato, because that's who I was funny. I only finally saw the picture of me on your promo spot for with the fluffy head in the front. That's Andrew Santagato's. Not that I was hoarding the head shot of Fluffy, but that was what that was. That was his sculpt of Fluffy that was on there.
Okay.
A good guy. He's made a bunch. He's done Mr. Pratt. He's done his own of that one too. So he's done a bunch of different types. Excellent sculptor.
I was wondering if you actually had the fluffy head. Like, I was like, is that the real thing? Yeah. Okay.
It's the real thing. In fact, I did have, believe it or not, I was gifted a Greg made, which I got from another collector though, that he got from Greg, was one of the puppet heads, which was fully operational, which was very, very cool. And you probably have seen pictures of that were floating around. But I was at a show, I think it was the first Living Dead weekend I was at up in Evans City when they still had this store up there. And Tom was up there all weekend also. He was like in a different part of the store, but it was pretty funny. Every time he would walk past me, he would see that and go, boy, that thing is so cool. Like, that's the neat thing. Like, he just would get, and he did it every single time. I think he'll deny that, but he'd said it like, it's like, that's really, well, I really like that. So eventually, I think it was the next year I saw him, because like I said, it was something that was gifted to me. I'm like, here, Tom. And I had a black garbage bag. And I gave him the fluffy head back. I'm like, it was probably, one of the coolest things that I've gotten, but I'm like, you know what? He's done so much for me and helped out. And like, that's the least. I never see him like that, where he's kind of like a little kid in front of me.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's had a similar thing with his helmet from Knight Riders that I think he misses too. But I've told them multiple times, Tom, if you want it back, hang on to it. I mean, you want to, whatever, you're welcome to keep it for a while. Like, that's fine. Like, I don't have an issue with it. And I've said that to everybody that I've gotten stuff from. If you want to have, like, that was kind of the condition. The Creepshow comic looked like that too. I've told Rick, if you want it back for a while, and like, you needed to do something or take it or borrow it at your, at least the Lenny, I used to lend the machete to. Sometimes Cara, I've done it with the trowel.
Yeah,
But
I think that,
that's just, I think that's really cool to get random people. I mean, I think you keep it for the show, but sometimes I'll be in the area and fans will come in. I'm like, here, I'll hand it over to them. Like, that's the coolest thing. Because then people have a story with that. You know, how many stories?
oh yeah, that was like one of the biggest takeaways that year I think even on the channel, if you go back to 2 years ago, whatever it was, like that was the thing that was prominently featured on the thumbnail, the promotional thumbnail for the video was me holding the trowel. Like that was my big takeaway that weekend. Like I'd, done all this other shit, but like just getting to hold the trowel and the machete and all that, I was just like you go back and tell 13 14-year-old Michael that, like, oh well, one day that trowel, you'll have it in your hands, and I would have never fucking believed you. But Fenwick was asking about the and I've had people ask me about this before, the Scirocco from Dawn of the Dead. Anybody know whatever happened to that thing? Because that's like one of those things that, like, I would love to have. I don't care what kind of shape it's in. I'd park that in my my driveway tomorrow if I could.
I don't even know who the auto wrangler would have been back there. You should know that more than I would. I'm sure somebody in the chat probably knows who that was.
Well, I know it was Ted Williams was the name of the.
Who knows who that is?
Oh yeah, Villa. Well, yeah, Villa probably knows where they live and their entire family history and shit. So
he'll be popping in 10 minutes. So like, it was so and so.
It sounds like a Zilla Clinton task, if I were to guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I wish I knew. Yeah. I mean, I love all those films, but the specifics are kind of like that. I mean, people ask me too about like first time going to the mall, and it wasn't until I got out here. But growing up in Pennsylvania, I mean, Pennsylvania is massive. When I was 16, I mean, it's almost a 5-hour drive from Allentown to here. So like, that was like the other side of the moon when you're 16. It's, oh yeah, I'm going to drive out to Pittsburgh. Or like, to me, it was back in the late 70s. When I was 16. Like, that would have been, and not knowing anybody. I'm not getting a hotel room at 16 that I could drive out and stay. And I don't think I would have made it a day trip to drive that far and look at the mall and then drive back. Like, we knew it was there. But that's another thing we didn't have the knowledge of, like the Friday the 13th thing. I got to spend time there when I was, this was before all the shows were doing Friday the 13th, that you have all these fan experiences. But I, like, again, as I do, was stopped in a distributorship and like bribed the guy. Like, I'll get, there was a guy working at a hoagie shop, but I'll give you any amount of money if you drive me to Camp Novi Bosco. Because I don't know where the hell that was. But this was 1995. There was nothing going on. There was no fandom to that. And he did. He's like, well, I want this import. I'm like, absolutely. And I got him the beer, and he took me right through the gates. We went right over, went all over. I got pictures, regular, like, camera pictures of the lake and of the buildings, and like, just so I could do that. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, that's how, ancient a fan experience was back then, that you could, I mean, it was cool that you could get in and do it, but
well, hell, I remember
there was no even then, pre-internet or beginning internet.
Well, even like, early internet, like when I first started, like when I first discovered that the mall was still actually a thing that you could actually go to, there were still conflicting, takes from people online of where the mall was at. Some people, I remember hearing that the mall was actually in Texas somewhere, or the mall had been destroyed years ago, or there was what was the other mall in Pittsburgh that looks kind of similar? Bethel Park.
South Hills Village looks a lot like the hillside, and it looks almost exactly the same.
Yeah, so I mean, there was still debate back then, but eventually, there was like, no, it's the Monroeville Mall, and as soon as I got that name in my brain, like that was, and like you, I mean, like from where I grew up to Pittsburgh, I mean, it was about an 8-hour drive, but as a kid, like it's like oh, that's another world away. Like I'll never get there. If I could ever get there, it'd be like, the dream come true.
It's different, but as a teenager, it's like it doesn't seem possible. Just because you can't all those things, you have to be 21 or 18 to do all these, the minutia of it, renting or a hotel or that kind of like you crossing state. Well, you're not crossing state lines, but you know what I mean. Well, it does, yeah, because there's any number of states. If you would drive 5 hours south, like we go through West Virginia into Kentucky, into or the other direction, all the way out to almost Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, like you're crossing a number of different places. So yeah, it's kind of funny that it was that far.
Hey, what's up, Grande? We were talking about Grande's guy we were talking about last night that we took out to the Tales from the Dark Side locations.
Awesome.
We were talking about locations, saying, Dave, we never met, but thank you for finding the locations for Tales from the Dark Side. I visited them last October in Alpha and Company, with Alpha and Company, and it was amazing. Yeah, we were talking about this last night that you and Larry were the ones that found the fence from the opening credit sequence in Tales from the Dark Side. We were talking about how you came about all that.
Yeah, Larry and I were I had talked to, first of all, I couldn't believe that nobody had been there or nobody had found it. And all these, especially, this was only a couple of years ago. So this inundation of film location, influencers, like what? Like nobody found it, and all these what?
It's a thing now, yeah.
And it's funny to me because I do I'm more known for having this stuff, but I love all of it. And I feel like I'm betting picking up whatever people don't wind up doing, because I've done that. I know recently. I don't know if you know, but to me, I thought that we would somebody would find all the audio clips that are in Creepshow when Leslie Nielsen's sitting there and he's watching the television, right? And there's it's what time is it? I don't know. All the stuff that you listen to, or the wrestling video where you just all the sound effect, all the sound background that you hear. Why hasn't anybody ever posted that video so people can see what the clips actually look like from those different, we froze in winter and we, burned in summer and all that stuff. So I went and got all of them, and they're on my channel. My YouTube channel is called Savoir Rare, and you check that out. They're all up on there now. So that's why I say I'm batting, whatever. I'm cleaning up everybody else's, but nobody completes it. I just think it's so funny. What have people not done? Why haven't they done it? But more importantly, it needs to get done. This is ridiculous. Yeah. So that was something that always bugged me. The wrestling thing was kind of hard to find, and then the editing was a pain because it's really clipped, audio clipped, multiple times. The clips I put up a little bit longer, but that's fun. You're actually able to watch what the character was watching with the audio that you're going to recognize immediately and go, oh, so this is what they, that to me was another sensory thing. Well, that's cool because it imprints on your brain. When you watch those movies so many times, you go, oh, I know what that's from, right away. So that was fun for that. But getting back to the location, I'm sorry to interject that because I'd anybody that I think that's cool. We're talking about the minutia of all this fandom. That's a nerdy thing.
That's what we do. We're all about the minutia here. So
right. Well, so the same thing with the location. Larry and I went out. Well, I talked to Mike and Michael Gornick, and said, hey, what's the deal on this? Nobody's ever asked you in 40 years. No. What? Really? Because that's the image everybody knows is the title. It's the video leading up to the title screen, and that's closing screen also. It's the thing you watch. How many times have people been freaked out and weirded? I'm a little older. I was in college when that came out, but I watched that show religiously every Saturday night when it was on, when it came out, and then I watched Monsters after that, when the couple years after that. But I always remember the title screen and being freaked out too by it and going, somebody needs to find this. I'm sure it's got to be out there. And sure enough, Larry and I drove for hours and hours. It was almost 5 hours, I think we were driving. And the very end of it, we were getting ready to leave. And we happened upon that fence on Route 30 and kind of backtracked around the fence and realized, oh, this has got to be it. And then we're able to find that shot that you're in the moment finding. And it's Like we were saying, it's the weirdest thing we talked about last night. Your brain syncs up and you go, oh yeah, this is it. Like that's the coolest. It's like the props, hold on, it's the same kind of thing. You feel it in VR. You stand there going, wait, but this, and you can move around and look at everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like seeing the night cemetery in color for the very first time. Like you can't believe it's the same place because that place is totally unchanged. But the dark side places, the couple of the trees further down were either died or were in an accident. Somebody hit them or they were not the same. But yeah, it's exactly the same spot. And actually, to the left, if you're standing in the exact same spot, I think Gorney just moved his camera this way because the fence on the left-hand side is another shot from the intro screen. Also for that montage, there's another shot.
That's right. Yeah. Because I remember we matched that up too. Because I think there's a picture of me like, intensely like focusing, like trying to match it up, like trying to match like the little notches on the fence to see.
The
like,
angle's probably a little. I think the camera lens might have been a little different. Why it looks slightly different, but yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like I saw that. I'm going. Hey, wait a second. Like what happened is I'm standing there and I'm looking, and then like I saw that, and that jammed in my head. Going, wait, this is another shot from the thing. Like what?
Mm-hmm.
Like yeah, there's a fence on the left side. Well, that's all he did was it. So if you find the one spot, you find both of them. But I've seen people. There's videos of people going out there and they can't find it. They can't line it up.
That's what I was telling you, man. Like, I don't know how the hell you guys found it. Cause like we even like knowing like because we pointed out here, Grande was like, Michelle, I remember I was like, this guy found it. And I showed you the picture and you shouted, that's Dave. So Grande had seen the picture of you out at that location. He was like, he didn't know. He was just like, that guy found it. It's got to be somewhere. But like that's the thing. Like even we kind of had because I remember I think Michelle even texted you and was asking, and I remember even with that, it seemed like we couldn't find it. Even it still felt like we were like, oh man, I don't think did we pass it? Is it back there? But like it's like you said, it's like once you see it, it's like, oh, that's it. It's right there. Because it's way the fuck out there. Like it's it's a little bit of a drive.
Yeah, you have to follow Route 30, and so I want to ask the chat, like, how many people see the white van and remember the white van from? Because that's what really sold it, that this was the correct place. Because in the intro, if you watch next time you watch Tales from the Dark Side, like look at the best version of it you can, and look for and why it's hilarious is because Dawn of the Dead, there's a white van in a lot of the blooper reel, like. That's what you see in the back is there's a white van in the one shot. Like I don't know if you've seen that.
I'm sure if anybody has seen that, it's probably Grande.
Okay.
He's probably caught all of it.
But yeah, when you watch you see a white van driving along, and that's Route 30. That's how you know that, oh yeah, there is a roadway right there. A main drag that goes past. That would make sense why that truck's there. Even in 1984 when they filmed it, it was there. So yeah, that's just, I get a kick out of that. Like again, this is beyond minutia now, but yeah.
Yeah, it's out in Legionnaire, Pennsylvania, where you can buy a house for $90,000. Yeah. I mean, it's out there. It's right around where they also shot Effects. I know Effects. The house from Effects is in Legionnaire as well. So
I think it's Ligonier.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a drive out there, but it's cool. Like the bridge was like. It was just, I think we just hung out there for like an hour, just walking across the bridge back and forth. Like, I don't know. It's like you said with the props, like it's like you grew up, you've seen this so many times, but actually being there, it's like, it's, I don't know. It's a weird experience. And some people don't get it. Some people, like, even if they're fans of this stuff, some people are just like, yeah, locations, who cares? It's like, they shot. Okay. Who cares? But for some people, it's like, this is it. Like it's like being on the set of the Millennium Falcon or something, how you can explain it. But it's like being able to go. It's like I tell people about like the Monroeville Mall. I tell people at work, like, oh, I'm taking a week off for vacation because I'm going to Pittsburgh. And they're like, oh, what are you going to, a Steelers game or something? I'm like, no, I'm going to a mall in Monroeville. They're like, why? I'm like, well, they shot a movie there. And it's like, okay. But I'm like, well, it's like if you're a Star Wars fan, it's like going and, and walking around on the Death Star, like not the set, but the actual Death Star. Like you're there, And they're like, oh, okay, well, have fun, But yeah,
one of the things I learned is that like not everybody shares your exact same specific interests in things, and It's hard to not realize that. I didn't realize it till I was probably in my 50s that it was a major thing, but it's really true. And especially with stuff like like a specific thing like props or a specific thing like you're talking with film locations, like people that get it really get it and love it, and people that don't. And this is something I've met with people that have absolutely no interest that I was 100% that they would, and then they didn't, and it turns out you don't share the same. Like, it's insane. And I don't say specifically who's like that, but I've met a handful of people that I thought, of course they're gonna love this, and then I met them, and then they're like, they could care less. Like, it's just not about that at all, which is insane. So when I do meet people now, and I've met, like, I still do that stop thing where I just did it. I've met this. I don't know if you've ever seen her on YouTube, but this amazing comedian, Tina Fremmel, that I met just when I was out in California, out of the blue. Like, she was just standing there, and I've been watching her videos for a long time. Just somebody, while you're scrolling all the time, I came across. She's very, very funny, and stopped her and said, "Would you have any interest at all in seeing?" And I'm like, "Well, she's at the show, so it's like some strange old dude asking her questions like." Would you like to see the? And she's like, "Oh my gosh, yeah, of course." And sure enough, she, ended up being a fan of it. But the same thing has happened where they look at you like, "What are you, out of your mind? Like, what? Like, get away from me." So
I don't get it. I don't get that reaction at all. I'm just like, I had that back in June. Some buddies of mine, the guys that I did the show with last night, Revival House. They came to Pittsburgh for the show. This was their first time being at the Monroeville Mall, first time being in Pittsburgh. And I made a point of it. I was like, well, one of those days that you're there, we're going to go out. I'm going to show you, like, we went out to the cemetery in Evans City. I took them, we just walked around Evans City. I was like, okay, that's where they shot the Crazies. That's where they did this. I love doing stuff like that. And again, it's like, you never know, are they really going to give a shit? It's like, but like, to me, it's like, as a fan, like I talk about, I don't know, last February or whatever it was, I went up to Pittsburgh and met up with Larry, and we did some location stuff for the Dark Half. And that to me was like, I was just blown away. I was just so excited to like see, oh, that's where the police station was, and you can still see like the sticker on the window and shit like that. Like, I love shit like, I'm all about that.
That's right. 90 is right near there, isn't it?
Oh, right? Yeah, right over. A lot of that stuff was Washington, PA, like a lot of the Dark Half stuff and a lot of the 90 stuff. But yeah, some people are just like, yeah, whatever. Like, maybe if I get time, like, for me, I was like, no, I make time to go. Like, I've been to all these places, like the airport before it was gone from Dawn of the Dead. Like, anytime I'd go to Pittsburgh, anytime I'd go for Living Dead weekend or whatever, I always make a point of going out there, just 15, 20 minutes, whatever, just to go out there and just be there, but you tell that to some people, they're just like, why? Like, there's nothing out there, man. They're like, even after they demolished the building, me and my buddy Will went out there just to be there and just be like, that's where it used to be, I don't know. It's a specific thing.
Did he take you where the lake house was? Because that cemetery in the trailer, you see that lake that was in the Dark Half where the house, which is, most people don't realize that's what they're looking at, which I think is really cool. In Night 90, the trailer for Night 90, there's a shot, and I pull it up, you guys. You're gonna dig it, because where the Timothy Hutton's character has that house, there's like the house next to the lake, which they built by that lake. But you can see that lake in the trailer for Night 90, which is really wild.
I remember, because when we were doing it, we were right in the middle of a hellacious snowstorm. Like I said, it was February in Pittsburgh, so we're driving around these back roads looking for shit in this.
Yeah, it'd be hard to find them. You wouldn't really see it unless you're looking for it.
Yeah, so I think that was one that we were like in the right area, but it was like a little sketchy. Maybe we'll come back, some other time. But yeah, everything else though, man, we Larry, I don't know how he did it, but like I was scared to death, like driving on those back roads covered in snow and ice, and I was just like, fucking hell. But we did it. We did it.
A lot of that where you live, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're used to, everybody has 4x4s up here.
Oh yeah, I learned like driving through downtown Pittsburgh in a freaking snowstorm. I that was when I learned the way to get up and down those hills in Pittsburgh is you got to shimmy your wheels back and forth, going up and down the hills. I'd never seen that. We don't do that here in Kentucky or Indiana. It's like no. But yeah, that was it was a lot of fun. But I love shit like that. Um, but what's up, Ed? Ed was asking if you have any Terminator stuff in your collection.
I don't have any Terminator stuff. Nothing.
No Terminator stuff.
Sorry to say.
Sorry to disappoint you.
There's a ton of it out there. Oh my gosh, the people that collect that stuff, like that's always a popular film.
Yeah, Ed's a big Terminator collector. He's got a lot of Romero, a lot of Terminator stuff. I had him on an episode of Collecting the Dead back in the day as well. So,
everybody has their, like, the horror people in the prop community. The one thing I will say for them, as varied as they are, personality wise, like everybody's real. Everyone sticks together. Like if you would name a prop, like I could tell you who has that prop. Like everybody knows who has what everyone, which is really a great thing because when something comes up for sale, they can go, "Oh, that's so and so has,"
and it's legit. Yeah,
exactly. Like so, a third, because that happens among collectors. They'll text each other and say, "Hey, what's the deal with this? Is this so and so, or who do I ask about this?" And it's pretty easy to find that information. So that's a good, part of it.
It comes in handy if you're already a part of that community, like you said, and you kind of know who all the collectors are and stuff like that. But what advice would you give, like people that are just now getting into collecting? Like, what are things to look for, things to avoid?
Well, it depends what you're like. What are you talking about? Are you talking about older stuff or newer stuff? Or because honestly, I'm priced out of, like, I could never have what I have now. Like it just it would never happen because anything rarer or a lot of the older stuff. We're still in that the top of the bell curve where people really want it and people are interested and there's a huge fan base and that's going to change. That happens a lot sometimes. That stuff from the older movies, all of a sudden it doesn't get near what it used to get. And if you're a fan of that's a lot older movie, then it's possible to get stuff from it. But the horror stuff specifically, if it's 80s stuff or anything that's super cultish or popular, it's going to be really hard. And you can go to any number of prop auction sites and see that that's true. As far as getting stuff from, like, I know this changes all the time because new movies come out and people love new movies, like whether it's Obsession or, I would honestly, if I was a collector, I would do what I did. And it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier as far as socially to get in touch with people on social media, get in touch with the prop master on the side. Like if it were me, if I was like wanting to start collecting stuff from a popular movie today that is going to be huge in the future, that, like, whether it be Obsession or Backrooms, or like, you can find out who these people are. You can see if they got anything left over. You can find, like, that's what you need to do. You got to go like a little bit underground and just do some digging and talk to them, and you'd be surprised the amount of stuff that's out there that you'd be able to get that I'm sure wouldn't be crazy price stuff. It depends on what the franchise is. Sometimes, and I don't want to name names again, but like this happens where the company will make 5, 6 of the exact same prop so they can say that it's screen used and then put it in one shot each.
Yeah.
From the show. It's like,
I've heard of that, yeah.
Insane, but they do that, and then they auction the stuff off themselves and make that's it's kind of genius in a way, but at the same time, I don't know.
Yeah, it's not quite the same as like the trowel. It's like that was the thing that they had because that's all they could afford, type of thing.
My point being, there's ways to go about it and I think a lot of these folks have other things from the film that they'd be able to sell that you could get at a decent price. I don't think everything's priced out if you're a collector today. I'd look into, like, be diligent and be enthusiastic and be a fan and explain it to them that way. That's really, because that's honestly how I always was. I never did it to make money out of it. I always did it just because I think, and you have to, but I think people that, you know, if you approach it like that and people see you as genuine, then the door's going to open a lot easier than, because I'm sure a lot of them have been burned by that too.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, that it's been you know, they can kind of see it coming a mile away. So it's all going to be dependent on how you know, come across and you know, how genuine and legitimate you seem to be. But that's what I would, you know, that would be my advice. Talk to them, be friendly with them, be, you know, like establish a friendship relationship with them. You know, even being cordial, being persistent. Like that's what you have to do. That's the Creepshow's comic book story for me. I just kept after Rick Catazon for a long time. Like I really would like this. I'm really doing it for this reason. I'm not going to turn around and, you know, and I think I've proven that over the last 10, 15 years that's
Yeah, that's one of the few things that you pull out at Living Dead Weekend that you won't let anybody hold.
Yeah, I used 2 years ago, and Rick, you know, in all, you know, fairness, he's right. All it takes is one person that's nervous to tear
Oh
it,
yeah.
or, you know, and he's right, and I got away with it for a while. That didn't happen. I thought, you know, it's probably better to keep that under. And so I'll take it and I'll show it to people myself.
Yeah.
If it's an intimate, you know, place, there's not a ton of people around, is it, you know, and I'll show them. I'll go through the pages and show them myself. Like if I'm going to be, and that's what I say to people, if it's going to be damaged, I'm going to be the one that's going to damage it. But I let people hold it all the time, you know, in the wrap. But that's the reason I don't do it anymore, because I just like I'd forever be heartbroken if that happened, and you're just like,
Oh yeah.
you can't return it to that once that happens. You know, it's never going to be the same. So
You have it. You wouldn't happen to have it handy, would you?
let me see. I think so. What did I do with it? Let me look.
Mentioned it a couple of times here. What's up, Aaron?
Yeah, I do have it.
There we go.
There it is.
Here we go. So that is the comic. That's the comic book from the film.
The comic book from the film. It says traveled across the country several times now.
I'm sure.
Well, this I'm able to put in like a computer case safely and take it with me. But
wow.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite 2 pages of the whole thing.
Oh yeah. And you have the crate as well. So
yeah.
It's amazing.
Now, when you watch the movie, when they says somebody sent for it, somebody
cut out.
This bucket is red. It's not yellow. And because I was freaked out myself by that. I'm like, what? How can that be? And Rick said they sometimes, to not damage this comic, they would just use individual pages, or be like 1 or 2, where they would have a tight shot, so they didn't have to worry about damaging the comic book itself. So he would have a page on that day and say, well, that's how you have, that's how you can like safely get away with it without, you know, having the potential, especially when you're redoing take after take after take. You would have the one, and so that was the one that ended up on screen, was the red one. Which, yeah, I was freaked out immediately. I go, oh, that's not. There's more than one comic book. Like it's like, calm down, Dave. There's one. It's just we had different pages for different things. Because I was really upset. I couldn't believe it. Because all these years I've been saying, oh, there's only one. There's only one. There's only one. And the same thing with this one is in that they are missing there's no Father's Day in this at the beginning, and there's the letters page is missing, and the first part of Jordy Verrill is not there. And Rick's book just came out, and again, I went back to him thinking that somebody else has those pages. They were taken. It was a draw, and you know, there was like an separate insert ad. Somebody, you know, disappeared or was sold years ago. He's like, no. He goes, I only ever made these certain pages for the comic book. And if you get his book where he talks about, he just recently released, I think last year, it's a nice hardcover book about all his all the stuff that he did throughout his career. It lists every page, and he's right. There's no all the pages from this comic, and there's no Father's Day, and there's no, and so
wow.
Yeah, which is cool. Like I, you know, Not that he would lie to me. I always wondered that. After
Yeah, but you always, there's always that thought in the back of your mind. It's like, what if? Like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure?
Right. Well, of course, when this happens sometimes where you've been believing something forever, and then all like something else shows up, and you go, "What?" And then you can't quite believe that it's a legitimate thing. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you're never going to know,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know. It's funny.
Well, what else you got handy that I'll turn it over to you for a little show and tell if you got anything else that.
Oh, I don't know what else here. Well, you've seen this is Tom's. You see this? His helmet from Knight Riders.
So that's Tom's helmet that he wore in Knight Riders.
Tom's helmet from Knight Riders. And you can tell because it's got this chip out of it on the side, on the top. When you watch the movie, you'll see the chip.
Oh, wow. I'll have to look for that next time.
Yeah, you have to check it out.
And of course, you got Upson Pratt up there, right above your right shoulder there. We saw earlier. What else is he going to dig out here?
This was an original Day mask.
Oh, wow.
This is one of the ones on the foreign poster.
Yeah, okay. I thought that looked familiar. I know exactly which one you're talking about. Yeah, wow. It's like the UK poster, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the tinted blue.
Yeah. It's all just kind of like all the masks lined up there. Yeah.
Oh, I'll bring it. I forgot who I always bring with me, and I forgot it was here. There's Major Cooper.
Moose Clit.
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it, right? And he's still super pliable, believe it or not, for being foam latex.
Yeah, it's still in amazing condition too. You see a lot of that foam latex stuff from back in the day, and it's in rough shape. That still looks amazing.
Was, believe it or not, between 1982 and 1985. That the quality, whatever they see, I still don't know whether it was intentional or not, how it was perfected, but they made a huge difference in the quality of the longevity of the products, how long that they would last, for sure. Wow. But yeah, some folks, this was their favorite. Like, that's what's cool about showing it, is that oftentimes you don't know what anybody's going to say about any of it, and what you would think is going to be the coolest piece is not even remotely near so I don't make assumptions at all anywhere. That's the one thing I've learned through all of this.
I know I see Aaron's in here, but from the Revival House, Todd actually got to hold it back in June, and I think that was like his profile picture on Facebook for a while. It was like him holding the holding the fucking brain. Like, that was it for him. Like, yeah, it's you never know. You never know what's gonna do what for who,
Yeah, and I'm so happy about that. That's the coolest thing for me. It is like it's just jazzes me up because I know what it feels like myself. It's not. Bless you. It's not the kind of thing that everybody gets to do. So super lucky.
Yeah. Aaron's saying he took the photo of it. There you go.
Oh.
Aaron didn't get to hold Moose Clit, unfortunately.
The heck. You got to come to the next show. There's only going to be one or two left, I think, right? As far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, there's one in October. I've heard they're gonna try to do at least one more next year, before they close them all. But what do you think about all that, man? Like, with the mall and everything. Do you have anything from the mall, collectible wise, or anything? Are you planning on grabbing a brick?
The only thing I have from the mall that I have the receipt somewhere, I'd really have to go digging for it, but I have the videos when they put Dawn out at night. Anchor Bay, I think, released them. Dawn was in I forget. Night was a 2 VHS, or Dawn. One of them was 2 VHS tapes.
I think they both had a double tape at one point.
And maybe they both did. I have those, but I have those with the receipt from the Monroeville Mall. Like, that was really the only thing that I have directly from the mall. And I got that in 90 when they came out, 96, I guess. Ancient days. But no, not anything specific to the mall. But I think about it, I mean, it doesn't surprise me. Like, if you would have said everybody's going to get everything delivered to their house and you're not going to go to malls anymore, I never would have believed that ever. You know, that's just crazy. That's kind of where we are. That you don't have to spend money on gas and wear and tear in your car, and like to do trips back and forth. Like, yeah, that's great for a lot of people, and especially for older people that can't get around like they used to and don't have, you know, the cars themselves, or don't, like, Uber solved that problem. Like, so many things as I'm aging into that population. Those are all great. That's all great stuff, you know, for me. But it's sad for a lot of other people to not have that community. But then we have, you know, community's been replaced with this kind of thing.
Yeah.
You do have a human interaction. It's not exactly the same, but at least you have the give and take that you have that you can share with other people. I mean, I know it doesn't work when you have 10 people in chat and you're all kind of going, you know, it's not the same thing, but this is pretty close that you can interact. I keep cutting you off all the time, like I would do in real life if I was with you. You know, like, this is kind of a very similar experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've said, like, just like doing these live streams on YouTube, and, you know, I mean, it's helped make things possible that were not possible before. I mean, it's like, you know, it's like we had Norman England on, you know, a couple weeks ago, and he's all the way in Japan, you know, and it's just like, I'd never have an opportunity to really, like, talk to Norman England if it wasn't for, you know, being able to do this online, you know. So it's yeah, like we said earlier, there's good and there's bad, but, you know, the good, there's some really good about it too. So
it's one of the big things that's different too. Old man again. I mean, I never would have expected to have friends in England and Japan and, you know, like Germany, where I could just call them up whenever and chat with. Like, it was so expensive. Just long distance between, like, Pittsburgh and Allentown was so pricey to just talk to your family members for a few hours back in the day if you were on the telephone. And now you could do you know, a live video feed for hours, and it doesn't cost any. Like, that's insane to me. So you know, it's
yeah.
You're absolutely right about that. I never thought I never thought I would have friends. You know, like, in my day, it was your pen pal with them, or your, you know, that's the most you could expect out of it if you couldn't afford high bills on the phone. So yeah, it's really amazing what it has brought to all of us. At the same time, it's taken a lot away, you know, that, sadly. You know, that's, I think, why the shows are so popular and sell out, because people want that human interaction. There's nothing like a mall and getting together and expressing that in person. That's never going to go away. I think that's what they don't count on. That, you know, they think that's going to.
Conventions in general are probably more popular now than they've ever been, and you know, more expensive now more than they've ever been too. But it's like, you know, if you're into something really niche, whether it's, you know, Romero or just horror or sci-fi or anything like that, it's like you don't really get to talk about this. That's, like I say it all the time. That's why I started doing this channels, because I don't get to go to work and talk about, hey, what do you think of, you know, Martin or Season of the Witch? You know, like, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But, like, I get to come on here and there's people in the chat. I get to have people on like you that I can talk about this stuff with, and it's like, it fills that void that you don't get in daily life. You can't, you know, it's not water cooler talk, you know. It's and conventions are the same way. It's like, it's the one, maybe once or twice a year, that these people can all come together and hang out and speak the same language, you know, as I say all the time. So,
well, it cuts through everything, doesn't it? It's a shorthand that we all have. That,
exactly.
You know, as polarized as the world is at the moment, it doesn't exist at those shows. I don't like.
Yeah.
Other subjects don't even come up. You're just talking about your fandom,
Yeah.
for all of it at the time, which is like amazing. Usually it's just music is the other part, like that does it too. But this 100% does it, because that's something that I love about the conventions also, is that you can just kind of revel in the joy everybody has it. And it is that. It's definitely joy that people have for it. And people are respectful. I have rarely have had occasions where somebody's not right, or have like a bad vibe or comfortable, or like it hardly ever happens. Everybody's real understanding and goes out of their way. I think that's true of horror fans in general, though. Like it's the rare thing when they're not, honestly.
Yeah.
My experience anyway.
Yeah, mine too. Mine too. I think we talked about that a little bit last night. It's like you never know, especially if you're doing a YouTube channel or something, and you're putting yourself out there. You never know who's watching, and who, you meet them in person. You never know what they're going to be like. But it's like, pretty much everybody I've ever met that I've met through doing this channel, they're always the coolest people in the world. Like, they're always like, okay, you're my people. You're literally like, okay, we speak the same language, But I saw Larry mention, he said his favorite item of yours is the hero crate, which you talked about, the creep show crate. I love that thing, and Dave was nice enough to get me in it and take pictures with it, with him in it. So
yeah, we had that in 2017, I think, or 20. I don't. It feels. I'm sure it may not be even that long ago, but I was there one time with everything at the show at Living Dead Weekend, and that must have been because everybody loved to get in it and just take a picture.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
It smells like 1982. I mean, it's really
I know that smell because I just today actually I won it on eBay for a crazy price, but I got an original Season of the Witch Vista video store poster, and I opened it up today, and it smells like it came. It's from 1982. I was like, okay, this is legit. All right. But I mentioned this to Larry before because I know Larry has Bomba's vest and stuff from Dawn of the Dead, and I know that you have his boots, correct?
They're in the museum. They're in Living Dead Museum.
There you go. So I was like, okay, we need some negotiation going on here. Either you need the outfit to go with the boots, or vice versa. So we need to bring those together at some point. We need to get a negotiation going on between you and Larry here.
Well, get Larry to send the rest of the museum so we can match the outfit out.
Yeah, come on, Larry. We need to fill it out.
I felt bad because I saw lots of other people were contributing things. I'm like, I know I have something I can give that, for sure. Yeah, there you go. All right.
Larry needs the boots.
Nice. That's too funny.
All right, Paul's asking for it. We'll wrap it up on this, but every time I have a new guest on, I hit them with rapid fire 10 questions with the guest.
Okay.
So I'm going to hit you with these, and I got some interesting ones here because
we'll
start easy, and then I'll hit you with some brain busters here. So you can go into as little or as much detail as you want on these. Like I said, some are more simple than others, but we'll see where we end up at. Are you ready?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Question 1. 10 questions with Dave Burian, ladies and gentlemen. Question 1, favorite Romero film. What is your favorite Romero film?
Gosh, that's so hard.
I said we're going to start easy. And you're like, first question. It's so hard.
Because I'm going to have to go with Night. Only because it was the one I saw first. And totally, the ending jarred me. I still remember being stunned. I was a young teenager. In fact, I saw it, I think on MTV or when I first saw it. And I'd seen clips of it on television, but watched the whole thing on MTV for the first time. And I remember just standing there like I couldn't believe what had just happened, how it ended like that. And I remember that feeling. Really, especially at that age, because we're not used to watching movies like that. Everything was a happy ending through my whole, watching television, and again, limited amount of stuff I was able to watch. Younger people go, oh my gosh, 10,000 movies. What are you talking about? No, movies were never like that, where that was what happened at the end of the film. It just never happened. So that
It's
was such a shocker to see it and go like, how could that? What? That's the vibe you get, and being
yeah.
horrified. You're in another world as far as the one you've been told and taught all your life. That's what was so scary.
Yeah,
So
and I've told this story before that ending still works to this day because I remember going to a local theater. This is probably 10 years ago or so. Going to a local theater and seeing it was right around Halloween, and it was one of the Riff Tracks, Night of the Living Dead Riff Tracks events. Where they watch the movie and they joke about it. And of course, the crowd that's there to see it is just there for a lark. They're there to laugh at an old cheap movie. A lot of people probably they'd heard of it, but they've never really seen it. And the movie's playing out, and then there's laughing and the jokes are going on and all that stuff. And I'm sitting next to these two younger girls, probably early 20s. They were just there on a girls' night having fun, watching Night of Living Dead and with the jokes and everything. But as the movie's playing out, like I'm looking and I keep hearing, the laughter starts to die down more and more and more. Like they're starting to get into the film. Even with the the commentary over it and the jokes and shit. They're kind of seeing past that at this point. And at the end of the film, when they shoot Ben, both of them next to me go, they gasp. And I remember thinking in that moment, I was like, wow, that still fucking works. It still works. Even with, riff tracks and shit like that ending, nobody sees it coming. So
I'm sorry, this isn't as rapid fire as you were expecting.
no, it's fine.
I mean, I'm glad that you're putting I love hearing your just as much. I mean, yeah, that's great. That's what I love about all of it is the takes that everybody else has. It's not what I'm, I love hearing with the stories. That's the coolest thing. So please, I know it makes it easier for me to answer though too, but all right.
Yeah, I say rapid fire, but it always goes into more detail than that. But
good.
All right, question two for you. Least favorite Romero film. What is your least favorite Romero film?
It's got to be one of the, well, for Matt Blasi, it's not Bruiser, so you can calm down. You know what? It's probably There's Always Vanilla for me.
Okay.
And the reason is because I haven't seen it that often. Like I really haven't done a deep dive on it. I think I've seen it twice. I wasn't going to say The Liberation of Cherry Jenkins. No, that wasn't. I'm going to say it.
Don't associate George.
I'm not going to go there. It's pretty hilarious. You said Romero film, so yeah. That doesn't count. Yeah, only because I just like it felt like the wrong vibe to me. You know what? And well, I don't know if I should change my mind on that and go with the amusement park, but that's not really a full-length feature. Amusement park really, you get into your 60s like I am, like it starts hitting hard. That it really does.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think I have any. I've told this to other. In fact, I was talking about this with some other people at the last show. I'm like it was. I worked mainly in the physical therapy part with older. It's always been elder care, like older people.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh boy, like you have no idea that like he nailed it on every possible level. I mean, that movie is great in that you see the beginnings and the inklings of all of his other later movies. Like you see stuff from Dawn, you see stuff like the same thing with the Crazies, of course, but he puts elements of that, a lot of them in Amusement Park too, so it's a seminal film for that. But it was just such a, you got to look into what he was doing earlier, the Wine of the Fawn, and like it wasn't always supposed to be about the horror. There was other stuff going on besides just but there was always the social commentary and context. And the style of movie for There's Always Vanilla wasn't my thing, I guess, is why I dislike it of all of them. Saying it's a bad film, it's not for me. Just wasn't my
right. That's fair. That's fair. It's like I tell people all the time, like I love There's Always Vanilla. Like I've always, like from the first time I saw it, like it was always like the the lost Romero film and shit. Nobody talked about it, and he didn't even like it. So why even bother? But when I finally watched it, like I kind of got it. I kind of dug it. But there are some people that are just they have no time for it. They're just like, that was awful. Like, I'll never watch that again.
It's exactly what we're talking about as far as, it's you would be expecting somebody to respond a certain way and then they don't, and then you're like, what's that? Like, yeah, you're going to see more of that as you get older. It's people can love all of it. And it's like, well, this one thing just didn't hit with them. And it's like, well, that's okay. Like, that's kind of how it goes. It's just so, and that was, I think, because it's such a horror-based thing for me. And that I like that whole genre of films. I'm not a big fan of the 60s countercultural hippie kind of vibe. Like, that's just not my thing.
Yeah.
That
Not a
would
big
make
Zabriskie Point fan.
Yeah, it's it was not, not Last Tango in Paris. We're not gonna go quite that far, but yeah, I mean, I get it. It's just not. It wasn't the vibe. That's all.
Yeah,
Okay.
I hear you. Okay, number 3, best Romero film. What do you think is his best film? Maybe not your favorite, but maybe what you think is his best film.
Wow, that's also tough. You know what? I'm going to have to go with Dawn on this one. And the reason why is because the level of suspense that he's able to maintain in that movie throughout the entirety of the movie, from the very opening shot, that you just are relentlessly, following these characters. There's some minor, brief comedic takes in between, but never long enough to stop the suspense from happening. Like, it's just relentless. It just goes and goes and goes, and from the beginning to the end. That's what's so fascinating about that movie. And it's an apocalyptic movie before it was a thing, a hugely popular thing. Just the entire the magnum opus style of it, that he was able to do it with, in a mall, and like, just the scope of it is so ridiculous. Like, what other filmmaker has done something like that? That you get
especially for that budget and what he was working with. I mean, it's amazing.
What stays with me the most is the suspense. They took be able to, back in school, it was willing suspension of disbelief, but it's like, you don't really have to suspend your disbelief when the suspense just goes through the entire thing. Like, it reminds me of, it's probably the closest movie to me of Texas Chainsaw, because it's like a nightmare, except it's, that's the same type of thing where you're in it the entire time and you're like, well, how are we going to get out of this? How are we going to get out of it? Like, how are we? And I almost wish that it ended the way that they were going to end it. But,
So you want the dark, bleak ending. Kill them all. Fuck it.
You know what? And, people are going to be mad at me for this, but it's like, that's life. Like, that's what it gets us all eventually.
Yeah.
Just a matter of, outlasting is all it is. Like, it's going to get it. So it would make those endings make sense to me. Like, I know that I absolutely love The Mist. I absolutely love that they did that as an ending, as controversial as that is. But even Stephen King said, what a genius. I wish I had written that. Like, what a genius ending. Like, yeah, that's as bleak as it is, but that stuff happens.
Yeah.
It's not the outlier necessarily. Sometimes that's just the way it goes. So to see it depicted, as shocking as it is, and that's, again, I grew up in a time when it was nothing but happy endings. So you're kind of, and as you get older, the realism seeps in heavier and heavier with each passing year, and you go, oh yeah, that makes sense. And I think that may be part of why it's like people feel the way they do about those movies. That's why I think it's his best film, because it does totally what it's supposed to do. Not that Night doesn't do that, but it has some parts in Night where it kind of goes on for minutes and minutes and minutes where there's not a whole lot happening. The suspense is not on the same level to me as it is in Dawn. Maybe, I don't know, maybe your take's different, but that's how it is to me. Like,
I'm with you. Which it's funny, but it's funny because when I had Norman on last and I asked him, his answers were reversed. He had Dawn was his favorite, but Night he thought was George's best. So that's why I love doing these questions, because everybody has a different point of view. And I think I'm more on your side. I'm more in terms of, like, because I just think Dawn, there's nothing else like it. There's never has been, and there's just nothing else like it. You know, it's its
really,
own thing.
And I'm not dissing Night at all, because I love Night. I just can't imagine somebody else making a movie like that today that would keep you enthralled for that long a period of time, where you don't want to do. It's like reading a novel you can't put down. Like, you have to see what happens in this movie. You have to see how it ends, and see what, the fate of all the characters is going to be. And it's pretty bleak, till the last shot that probably should have gone the other way. But
but even that, even there's, even the way it does end, she's like, we don't have very much gas, and he's just like, all right, they're not long for the world anyway. They're gonna land somewhere, and they're gonna be in a shitty situation, and there's no there. Even in a happy ending, he still leaves you with very little hope. It's just like,
you know what? I don't think I've talked to a lot of people about this, but I still think, I always wonder, why the hell did they leave? The bikers left. Like, why would you not? It's not like the bikers took over the mall. Why would you leave? Why wouldn't you you have everything you need? Why would you go into the nothing? Eventually you're going to catch somebody on radio or shortwave somewhere around the world that you can go travel to. Why? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, I mean, obviously for dramatic purposes, it makes sense. But if I was the person actually in that situation, I wouldn't be leaving the mall. What are you, nuts? Everything that you need, the canned goods. You don't have to worry about food. You don't have to worry about access. The plants. You still have power. You're going to worry about landing somewhere there's no power. There's no access to get. Like, what? No, that's not what you would do. So,
yeah.
It's I'm sorry. Like,
these are the
I stepped on some toes, I'm sure, but yeah.
These are the conversations that you have with your buddies driving around, like a Living Dead weekend. You've had a few beers, you're sitting around, you're talking about like I remember we were having a conversation, me, Paul, my buddy Will Phelps, like we were just driving around the mall one night. Just driving around, just talking about Dawn of the Dead, listening to the soundtrack, talking about Dawn of the Dead, just real nerd shit. And I had this theory. I was like, well, in theory, like when they park the trucks in front of the entrances, like it would have been, what they should have done is just left the trucks running, so they would have run out of gas, so they wouldn't have been able to been moved if anybody did show up.
Right.
And so like your brain goes down these little minutia things where you start thinking, you start going back and forth and trying to pinpoint, well, if they did that, then this would happen, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I love shit like that, so it's fine. All right. Question 4. Most underappreciated Romero film. What do you think is his most underappreciated film?
Oh gosh. Probably Night Riders.
Yeah, that's a popular answer, yeah.
Yeah, because it's just not, even though it's not the genre, not that like I'm a huge fan of Renaissance Fair films. There's only, how many others are there really?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to me, that movie was all about the family that he created in Pittsburgh. That's what I get. And then having moved out here and then being, obviously I can't say welcome because the guy didn't even remember my name, but kind of get into I'm teasing.
Well, it goes back. I mean, it goes back to the who the hell is Jim Fang story. I don't know if you heard that story, but
you absolutely get welcomed into the group as a whole when you come. You do feel that, and I think that's true, and that's what it felt like watching that movie. Is everybody kind of there's an underlying social. It's that movie's about a lot of things, but I think that's part of it was that he was writing about, including that aspect of filmmaking in Pittsburgh. Is that I'm not saying the whole thing, but I think that's a part of it, and it really is true because it was the same folks that and Stephen King had been welcomed into that group too. As what did he have to do with that movie? No, he was in it because he was part of the group. Also, like I don't know. I have these crazy takes on stuff, but
Night Riders always felt like a big family reunion film to me because it featured, cast and crew members that would work with George for years to come and people that had worked with George years prior. You look at like Hal Jones and shit, that worked with George on like going all the way back to the Crazies and all these people that would, I mean, and I think that you're right. I mean, it is a movie about that filmmaking community in Pittsburgh at that time, and George's look on things. You know, we're trying. He's fighting the dragon. He's trying to keep this independent spirit going, trying to keep doing what he's doing, but he also realizes that, you know, Hollywood's knocking at the door. Bon Tempe's at the door with the big money offers, and, you know, people got to make a living, you know what I mean? And it's like, you know, so yeah, I fully agree. Like I said, I think that's a popular answer for a lot of people, because again, Knight Riders is one of those movies, and it maybe because it's not a horror film, you know, kind of like with Vanilla, that a lot of even like diehard Romero fans, you know, a lot of people I see in the chat, a lot of people I've met that it's just like, yeah, I've never actually watched Knight Riders. I'm like, dude, watch it. Like, just because that was the last Romero film that I watched when I was discovering all of his movies, because I always, you know, it's not a horror film. It's about, you know, jousting on motorcycles. I was like, that sounds, I don't know about this. But then when I watched it, I finally watched it. It was one of the only times that I literally just went back and rewatched it. Like, as soon as it was over, I started it over again and watched it again, because I was just blown away by how much I loved it. So, but yeah, I'm with you on that one. Question 5: favorite physical media format? VHS? Are you a LaserDisc guy? DVD, Blu-ray, 4K? What is your favorite?
Probably, yeah. It's gonna be Blu-ray for me.
Okay.
I like 4K is cool. I mean, you're starting to get into a level of like what your vision will allow. You know, like how your bit, like, you know, they're talking about 8K, and I think like your eyes can't even see 8K. Like, it's good if you're watching it on a gigantic screen. I guess the quality is better. Like, that's kind of the reason for 8K. But yeah, 4K is even a little too far. Believe it or not, I loved HD DVD when it came out, and the sound and quality of that was great. Sadly my player took a dump, but like I probably have 24 HD DVD tapes. I have to go to Goodwill and find a player because I know they unload them all the time. But I was right on board with that, and it's the reasons because the storage was less, like it always is. You know, that's always the problem. Storage, even if it's not as good quality of, you know, video, audio, that's what they go with because you can save more. I understand, but and sadly that's what Blu-ray is. Like, if it was a choice even between Blu-ray and HD, I would go HD DVD. I'd go with HD DVD as an all-time favorite. But there's some great DVD releases that are out there. I'm a big horror anthology guy. You know, I've seen some great quality stuff on there. I don't typically buy 4K stuff when it comes out. I save my money and go for Blu-ray. Vision's decent.
Yeah.
So thankfully that it's like the quality is enough there for me. And the sound, like, you can take all that up in there too. You know, PCMs, like, the quality's still really good.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. I've come around kind of to what your way of thinking. Like, when 4K first came out, I was like, oh, I got to rebuy everything in 4K now. It's the same thing. It's like when we went from VHS to DVD. It was like, okay, we can get rid of all VHS and go to DVD now, and it's like DVD to Blu-ray, and it's like, okay, we can move on to Blu-ray. And when 4K came out, I was like, well, I got to buy everything in 4K now. But after a while, it was like, most of these movies I'd be fine with in Blu-ray, you know, unless it's something like Dawn of the Dead or Texas Chainsaw or something that one of my all-time favorites. You know, I obviously I would like it in 4K, but I don't need everything in 4K like some people do. Like, it's just like I don't need Flesh Eater in 4K. Sorry, Vinegar Syndrome. I don't need Flesh Eater in 4K. I don't know. Like, a Blu-ray is more than enough for those type of movies.
You're also limited by what the original film stock was. Like, you're not going to be making it better based on that. Something shot in the 70s, depending on how the transfers went, it's not going to be, you know, it's going to be grainy and still it's going to look almost the same as the Blu-ray is. It's not going to be that much better. You know, like in black and white, it's going to look better. We could see that I was stunned how much better Night looked in 4K.
Oh yeah.
Like, especially we saw it on the big screen when it debuted in Pittsburgh. I was there for that. It was like, holy cow. Like, you could see the dried raindrops on the windshield, on the window. Like, I've never seen that before. Like, there's stuff like that. Like, the trowel scene, I think that was the first time I saw the little trowel that was next to the bigger trowel. Like, I noticed that before. It was a little darker. Like, there's sounds that you hear on that soundtrack I never heard before.
I was gonna say. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. The sound on that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so if you're a purist, I guess, which I kind of got off that horse a few years ago, just because it's like everything's kind of good enough. I tend more to be also all about the special features too. I'm not a big. I don't need all the inserts and the packaging and I like having the book sometimes, but I don't need all the extra stuff. So the 4Ks usually are loaded with all that too, more so. I mean, I've bought movies when I couldn't get it in any other way, when the Blu-rays were sold out, and the 4K is like the only one. Like The Witch was a recent example. I love The Witch. It's one of my favorite horror films. But like that was only available second sight was a 4K, so I picked that up because like I'm never gonna get, like, I don't want to be sold out, and then I have to pay 3 times as much online. So that's true, and I have a 4K player, but I just don't use it that often. Like I can't really discern the difference generally with it. But as long as it has features, and you can port all that stuff over, and that particular release has a ton of features on it, which I was really happy. I was really upset about Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's one of my favorite movies too, and there's like no commentary on that, which makes me nuts. I'm sorry, I'm venting. Old man venting one.
Let it out, man. Let it out.
I absolutely love that movie, and like, there's no commentary. What? Okay.
Yeah, I hate that shit too, because I'm a big special features guy too. So when something's bare bones like that, I'm just like, I don't know. All right.
Good.
Blu-ray, we got okay. Where am I at here? I don't even know where I'm at. Question 6.
Yeah.
Okay, collector question here. Do you prefer a signed item or an unsigned item in mint condition?
Well, are you talking about like screen use thing, or are you talking about just in general?
Just in general. Let's say you get like an original one sheet. Would you prefer it to be in pristine condition, or would you like it? It could be a little roughed up but it has a few signatures on it. Well, what do you prefer?
I'd rather have it signed. For me, I'd rather have it signed.
Okay.
Now that doesn't mean that I go to every single ancillary cast member and get signatures on it. Like this is like the different collectors. Like everybody has their, like this is why you're asking me this. Every collector has their preference. So yeah, for some people, like, that's awesome and good. Like I'm glad, that's cool. I'm sure there's like a winning total of who has the most signatures on one specific piece of Romero memorabilia. I wonder who that is, because it's got to be kind of crazy. I've seen some posters that like insane. That I know that not every single possible person that, like, that's awesome. Like I always say this about all collectors in general, like everybody contributes something. Everybody is like something to bring to the table. Everybody's got, whether you're a person or you're a signature person or you're a prop-alike person, or like everybody contributes to that whole. So I don't get anybody being like more this than that person. Or I'm like, no, everybody has something to offer. Like that's the cool part of it to me, because I certainly wouldn't want to be the end all be all of all of it. I like contributing my little pieces, my little, my Tales from the Dark Side location thing, and my little thing with the video stuff. Like that's what is fun. Everybody should do some of that and pick up. So you're contributing to everybody else. That's what's neat to me. So as far as, I don't even know I have to explain that, but like this is, people need to see where I'm coming from with all of this stuff. Like it's like, come on, people. Everybody has their thing. John Vullo has his researching, finding everything about that nobody would ever find out. Like it's all out there. Like people can, like, that just is amazing that you can do that, and then somebody's going to take something from that and find somebody else, find somebody different, and that's what we need. You just, nobody can do all of it themselves.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah,
you realize that. Like it's not about that. It's about you're a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine George sitting there listening to like an argument about that and going, "What are you not?"
I think about that all the time. I'm like, what would George think about? He'd be like, "What are you talking about? What are you doing?" But yeah, it's like you say, everybody has their own thing. Everybody has, like I say, Paul Farver with the Propalikes and like his collection. Your collection, the screen use stuff. Like you talk about like signed stuff. It's like I got certain things that I only have certain people sign because of what it is. You know what I mean? Like I like the Dawn board game I mentioned earlier. Like I got Scott and Galen to sign that because they're on the cover. But I'm not, that's the only 2 signatures I want on it because they're featured on it. Their caricatures are featured on it. So yeah, I'm but yeah, there are some people out there that would just like, I need every signature possible that I can get on this thing, and I'm just like,
That's cool. That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
I mean,
God bless them.
when people mention a thing about me, and I just go, you're talking to the guy that George himself, said, who? So, what else do you want from that? Like, that put me immediately in my place. So, of course, I'm not going to. That's just crazy. That's my retort when people say that to me.
All right. Let's see. Question 7. All right. Another collector question here. Keep it sealed or open it when you buy something like, do you keep it sealed or do you open it?
No, I would definitely open it. Now that depends. Like, I got a couple things from, like I said, the second sight stuff that I bought. Some of it I'm going to keep sealed, that because I'm going to probably resell it at some point. But I had to get it because the other thing wasn't available. So, like, this has happened a few times where I've got stuff and then, like, it never comes, or it's on back, or and then it's a couple months later and I never get it. And then I'll get the other. It's almost like, you get by the second one, all of a sudden, oh, we found the other one. Here it is. All right. I mean, not that they're doing that. I'm not saying there's anything nefarious happening, but that's happened a few times with various companies where I go, okay, so of course I'm going to resell the one thing that I got the one that I wanted, so somebody's going to want this other one at some point. I don't do it intentionally. I'm not one of those people that buys one and not the, two of one thing with the intent to resell it one day. It's always, if it happens to be like that, that's great. But if it was a preference, it would be to open it and watch it first.
What about for like so for me, like I was talking about the action figures earlier, like I don't open action figures. I keep them sealed in their packaging in the case, and yeah.
I just made a liar out of myself. But now, to be fair, and it's signed, to be fair, am I really going to play with this? I mean, really?
Well,
so, that's right.
Well, would you admit to it?
Right. Apologies to Gyra. No, I'm not going to play with it. So that's why I would. But if it was something, if I had kids, or like I could see, here, let's play Night of the Living Dead Playhouse or whatever. Yeah, I guess I would take it out. But
we gotta board up. We gotta board up Barbie's the Barbie Playhouse. We gotta board it up.
It depends what I mean, come on, it's specific. Am I gonna have loads of? And again, I get it when people have boxes of stuff at home, and they, like there's an SNL thing where they make fun of people that do like, yeah, all right, well, that's, everybody has their preference. Like, yeah, mine is generally open it and enjoy what you got. That's why you got it. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I just said, I'm a liar because I didn't do it with her, but.
Hey, if it's signed, you don't just want a signed box, so it makes sense.
Hey, you don't want a signed empty box that you'd have to take great care to reseal like that. Although I know some people have those, things at home where they reseal their stuff. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. All right, I'm sorry. I'm glad I'm making you laugh.
No, it's because like I think about this shit all the time. Because like I said, with the whole thing with the action figures, I'm running out of room. It's because I won't open any of them. They're just like all. It's like I have a toy store in my room right now. So,
well, then your intent is eventually to sell it.
I mean, if I have to, but it's also just like I don't want to lose the packaging too. Like there's the art to the packaging and everything. It's like,
right.
And a lot of them are signed. It's like I don't know. All right.
Yeah,
question.
I understand it. It's tough to get me riled or rattled about anything unless you're, Autopsy of Jane Doe. It's like really the only thing. Yeah, because I understand the different. I didn't have that realization when I was younger, that it really is about, everybody is so specific about their individual. It's really true with everybody. And until I started meeting people around the country, then I realized, yeah, you're not, like, it's not all about you. It's about, people have their own specific things, and you got to abide by it and accept it, and that's just how it is. So no judgment.
Question 8.
Last time I talk about
it. Question 8. Would you rather have one $2,000 Holy Grail item or 20 $100 items in terms of collecting? Are you a quantity over quality guy or vice versa?
No, definitely quality over quantity for me.
There you
I mean, that should be kind of, again, it's a preference. Yeah, that would be my thing, because it's something like that. Then other people can appreciate it. Whereas the 20 items, only you could appreciate that for whatever it is.
Yeah. Although, I mean, $100 item these days. I mean, I don't know what you'd get.
That's that's like a 4K package.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like bucks. Like a limited edition 4K is like about $100, all done with shipping and that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I don't know. I have to upgrade that question with inflation included. I guess I don't know. Larry's asking tell us how much you love Hereditary. Are you a Hereditary fan? Are you a Hereditator?
I still have a problem with the everybody's seen it. Yeah, this was that Larry.
Yeah.
That's yeah. Yeah, the thing with Hereditary is the scene where she gets her head bashed, and then the next scene is like there's no consequences at all for that. Like this movie is trying to be as like, literal, and is like, this is a family, and it's blah, blah, on and on and on. And then like, if that was you or me and you just killed your sister, like have a shot in the background after that of like red and blue lights, like something that there's some kind of accountability to that character, anything.
The police are somewhere. Yeah.
So I'm getting arrested, like nothing or nothing. It goes next day. They're sitting at the table like, oh, you killed your sister. Like, what the fuck? No, that took me right out of the movie, and that was the end of that. That's why I'm sure Larry's out there laughing. It's exactly the truth. I've had that conversation with him. It just irritated the hell out of me. And as much as I love the movie otherwise, that was like a deal breaker.
It's that one little thing. I have those moments with certain films too. So yeah, I feel you.
The acting is amazing. Like, there is no question. Everything about that. I always wanted to ask Ari Aster that question. If I ever meet him, I'm asking him, because I'll immediately be the first thing that pops in my mind if I meet him. Like, what the hell was the deal with you not? And he's going to say, it's a movie, Dave. That's what he's going to say.
It's like, it was in the script. Come on.
It's very funny.
Let's see. Do you have a favorite physical media company right now? The one that you always go to that you think is always quality?
No, it's honestly whoever's putting out the best release, that has the features on it that I want, is what it is. I mean, that's when I go shopping, I don't go, oh, I got to get Vinegar Syndrome, I have to get, like a printer. Like, it's who has the stuff, who has the commentaries, who has the most of whatever it is, and I'll spend the money on that more than any other reason. It'll be the thing that's got all. If it's, I mean, I don't buy a ton of commentaries, but sometimes there's people that I just love as commentators that, like Richard Harlan Smith, or there's like 2 or 3 that it's like a blind buy just for them commentating, because it's so entertaining to listen to. And it's like watching a movie, because not only do you learn stuff, Guillermo del Toro's like that. He does a bunch on the Night Gallery Blu-ray set. Whenever, like, to hear something like Stephen King did his on Storm of the Century, for example, like, it's genius. It has nothing to do with the movie, but it's just him talking about horror for, an hour.
Oh yeah. I love it like that.
The context of, I highly recommend that if anybody's in the commentaries. If you've never seen that commentary, get it, because it's worth the price of admission. Just get the DVD. You don't have to spend a lot of money. Just pick that up.
Storm of the Century, he did that?
Oh, it's amazing.
Okay. Yeah. I've never heard that, but it's Storm of the Century is not really one of those movies that I really would go out of my way to buy the DVD of. It's not one of my favorites, but I would love to hear that though.
Because he doesn't really, I think he brings it up while he's talking, but he doesn't really talk about the movie. I think he maybe occasionally he'll kind of reference it as he's talking to whatever's happening on screen, but he just kind of goes on this, I don't know, like just rambling free,
I love commentaries. I love commentaries like that. Like, one of my favorite Romero commentaries is him and William Lustig for The Crazies, and they're talking about the movie a little bit, but a lot of it's just more about William Lustig as a peer, almost like a fellow filmmaker, talking to George about his career and his style and all that, and it's more of just like an interview almost between Lustig and Romero, and I you know, I'm all for shit like that. So yeah, I'd love to hear that. I didn't know Stephen King actually did a commentary for that, so I'll have to look for that.
I'm not aware of how many other films he's done, but that was one that I mean, I would definitely, I need to look that up because I don't know how many. It was so entertaining. I'm like, this is just crazy because you listen to him all day. He always has great insights to stuff. I mean, he's a genius, clearly, but yeah, he hardly ever does anything like that. So that was, I think, a blind buy for me just because, like, what? Stephen King commentary? All right, sold.
Yeah,
and it was,
I had no idea.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, last question. This is a deep question here. Deep question, so you can think on it if you need to.
Okay.
All right, so here's the scenario. Tomorrow morning, you wake up and your entire collection is gone.
Okay.
But there's a check sitting.
But yeah.
There's a check sitting on your kitchen table for the full value of your collection. Are you relieved or completely devastated?
Completely devastated, for sure. That's hilarious. It's like the question you thought was going to be the longest is the fastest. Yeah, I mean, because it's taken a lifetime to get it. You know, to have everything wiped out that fast is what's like. You can't imagine what Tom's going through right now. You know, don't think I even thought about that. Like, it's, of course, because, you know, I have a few things that were his, so at least that stuff is still, you know, around. I don't know I honestly don't know the extent of what, you know, everything is. I have no idea. I have not been inside, but we were, you know, I was there that night when it happened and like got to see, you know, it was like, it's really hard. Like, I get it. When I was, not a ton of people know, when I was 13, our house, the same thing happened and I lost everything. Like, I don't have any history of myself before 13. So I know exactly what that's like. And it's just, it's brutal. So I know what it's like because it's already happened. When you just lose everything and you don't have a history of anything. That would, you know, it's devastating to anybody when it happens, but I know what it's like. I hope I don't ever have to experience it again, but it's true. You get, yeah. And I think it's actually a good formative experience to have, as horrible as that sounds even to say, because it prepares you for a lot of stuff that happens in life down the road, that it just makes you that much harder. And especially, you know, some of the stuff I've had to endure in my life, like, it makes me a tougher person. I probably wouldn't be here if I hadn't had that experience and other experiences. But yeah, like, it would be devastating because this is your whole kind of, it's like a side, you know, frankly, it's like a side project. Like, it's not my entire life, but it's what I've really kind of, now I can enjoy it more than any other time because I have some time and I am able to meet some friends and do what I do with other folks. Like, that would be half of the heartache of it, would be not being able to do that anymore with other people. That's really what it would be. It's not even for myself so much. I would soldier on, but yeah, it would be, devastating. The check doesn't, you know, I just am not that person. I grew up with, my family had a lot of money at one time. My mom was married to somebody that had a lot. So I knew what that life was like, but I knew what all the headaches associated with that life was like. So it was a great experience for me. Like, we had multiple houses, we had boats, we had lots of stuff. And I was like, I don't ever want that. Like, the thing that people don't realize is you have that lifestyle, you have to be able to maintain that lifestyle forever. And it's such, like, it's never ending when you have that type of responsibility. And like, I'm so happy I don't need to do that. Like, I kind of made up my mind to go in the other direction, and that's what I've done. And that's maybe gives you more of an idea why I am the way I am. Like, it just is not, was not the way, you know, it was not the way for me to go after it. And I get why people don't, if they've never had anything and experienced it. And it's like, they think that's what the answer is going to be. That's cool. Whatever, you know, do whatever you can, but your life's really shaped by your early formative things. And then as you get a little older, I think you're kind of set in your ways by the time you're 30 or, you know, 35 or 40 for sure. And you're just not going to change. And I'm in my 60s now, and it's not going to be changing again. You get super reflective more so, and you're not there yet. You're still, you know, you're going through it. So I mean, I'm not saying you have any realization of anything. I don't mean that at all. I mean, it's like you really kind of see more of it, and it kind of, your focus gets narrower, and you go, oh yeah, it's really all about this more. Is like kind of.
Hmm.
I'm sure you see a lot of that too. It's just.
Oh yeah, yeah. The question was interesting to me because I've thought about that. I'm like, would because I got kids and shit like that, and it's like, man, it'd be if I could just sell it, because I joke about that with my fiance sometimes. I'm just like, well, I got all this stuff that I've been collecting all these years, just in case our daughter ever grows up and wants to go to college, or she develops a bad drug problem. Either way, we got we can help her. Um, but it is I mean, I think that's the thing about being a collector. It's like I'm like you though. It's like I love having I love being it's my stuff. It's my life. It's like I remember where I was when I first saw that. Or I first experienced this film for the first time or whatever. And to me, like, those experiences are more important than just like you said, being a collector that just buys shit to resell it. To make a profit. Um, because my fiance doesn't get it at all. So if I buy something, she's like, "Are you gonna resell it?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "Well, why do you want it?" And I'm just like, "Well, because it's I don't know. I just want it. I don't know what to tell you." But yeah, just to talking about what Tom's going through right now. Yeah, I can't imagine, especially with that being like his childhood home. That's the house that he's lived in his entire life. So I mean, there's even more attachment to it outside of just the his things. So I don't know, man. It's rough. I don't even like thinking about it. It bums me out. It really just it's not cool. But
I mean, it's kind of like the movie. Like we've been talking all night about the movies. You have this dark ending like that. Like, oh well, that's never going to happen. Like, it happens sometimes. As
yeah,
awful as it is, it happen.
yeah.
It's just it just is the way it is, and it's all film or all good film is reflective of that.
Mm-hmm. I
As
agree.
good or bad for whether that's good or bad, I don't know, but it's good to at least be exposed to it.
Yeah.
And so that it's Stephen King's often would say it's the rehearsal for your own death is a lot of it what horror movies are. That's kind of the basis of what that is. Yeah, I guess it is. Or their favorite quote is "When the monsters get you." I like that too. It's pretty creepy also. But yeah, it's the whole thing is just awful, and yeah, sick to my stomach when I was over there because I know what it's terrible.
Mm.
Terrible,
Oh.
but I think there's been a lot of support, and I'm sure
Oh
that
yeah.
it's going to come back, and he's going to be there. It's just a long process, and I know that's hard too because I went through that, and as we eventually got back in the same place, but it took a lot. But
Oh yeah.
it tests your mettle, as it were. It really is not a great time to be older and having a struggle like that for sure. And I think more people need to realize that.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I
But
mean,
like you
he's
said, there's been a lot of support though. I mean, they
yeah,
I
for
know
sure.
Jason Baker put up the the GoFundMe, and it's like raised up like $90,000 or something like that. Like it's pretty incredible to see how many people and you see like who's donating and stuff, and you just see like all these people from Tom's life and career. You see people that he's worked with, and it's I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, if nothing else. So,
Absolutely. Yeah.
um, all right. Well, man, you're a treasure. You made my dreams come true at one point by letting me get to handle the goods at one point. And I appreciate you doing this. It's been a blast.
It's a real joy. Like, how many people get to do this? I
Yeah.
mean, I really look at it like that. How many people are lucky enough to be able to say, "Hey, people dig this," and you can be there and do that? Like, what? How better could it be? Really? I
Yeah.
just that's why I love it. I absolutely love it. And people
Well.
love it. And it's just goodwill. I mean, I said if there's anything I like, because it's not about making money, it's just access.
Mm-hmm.
To people or to like that's what I get out of it. People like what's my I have this underlying surreptitious thing that I'm doing. I'm like, no, it's just, yeah, that's, if it's anything, it's that. I end up meeting more people, and you just have a general, consensus. Oh, this somebody you can, that's all right, that you can trust, or but all I ever wanted, like Tom used to say, is just to be recognized as a fan of something. And I've had that. I've been really fortunate.
Yeah.
And I know, so that's why I try to give back when I can.
Well, we appreciate you, and I appreciate you for doing this. This is a lot of fun, and we'll stay in touch. Everybody, there you go. There you go. There's the shirt.
Yeah.
There's your payoff. There's your payoff. I appreciate it.
More than that. It's always good to see you guys at the show.
Yeah, and if you're at the Living Dead weekend, you see Dave walking around with the purple bag, follow him around. You never know what he might pull out. So
yeah, you guys, please, don't be afraid to stop me. I find time for everybody. If I can't,
it really does.
Unless I'm on my way to something that I have to do, I will definitely be like, tell me I can't. I have to, do this now. Or I'm leaving, or like, let me know. We'll work something out. All right. So just don't be afraid. Like I said, cold stop me. That's sometimes what you have to do, because last time it was almost 2 hours. When I got in the door, I couldn't even make it into a hall. Like, I was just stopped by so many people, which is fine. I'm not saying it was a bad thing. I couldn't believe it. Like, that's how crazy the show was.
Oh, so yeah. The last one was insane. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I believe that.
Busiest show ever.
Yeah.
Buddy Dan Roebuck showed up. He was there. First time ever at the mall.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that he was there. I didn't see him, but I heard that he was there.
I bumped into him. It was pretty funny, because he's never there. And he's like, well, I got to see it one time before the mall closes. So, which makes sense,
Yeah, there you go, Larry. Everybody hit the like and the sub. If you're watching for the first time, hit the like and the sub and all that fun shit. Memberships, channel memberships as well, still available. We got Cellar Dweller tier and the Ritz. Dropped a new video today, or a little mail day video of me opening my Season of the Witch poster and showing that off. And we do live streams and all kinds of other stuff over there. So if you want to check it out, check it out. Yeah, thanks. Good to see you, Jeff. Down is up. Thanks, Michael. Dave, great show. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Have a great weekend, my man. And I hope that tooth's feeling a little better. I know you were feeling a little under the weather with the tooth issue last week. So hope you're doing well, man. Griff, Mask Fondler, been fun hanging. Take care. All take care, my man. Good to see you. Larry saying he saw Dan on his tour and said hi. That's very cool.
Yep.
But all right, guys, that's it for tonight. It's been Collecting the Dead. Dave Burian, thanks so much, man. We'll catch you guys next week here on the channel. Stay tuned. You guys know the deal. Everybody stay safe, stay prepared, but always stay scared. Where's my video? Here we go. All right, bye, everybody. I'm a little bit behind. Have a good night, everybody.